The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Welcome into a Tuesday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com. Ron Potesta with you. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business. 330-886-0813. That's 330-886-0813. Running Point presented, as always, by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. If you are in the market for a new or used automobile, do check out the fine folks at Greenwood Chevrolet because, well, they have three things that you, the consumer, desperately need when you're looking to get a new or a used car. You have a sales department that's second to none. You have a finance department that's second to none. You have a service department that's second to none. So if you are looking for a new car or a used car, you check out the folks at Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. We begin today with a little bit of interesting news coming out of Pittsburgh. Ben Roethlisberger and three other players have been placed on the reserve COVID-19 list. They're eligible to return in 5 days should they all test negative. Roethlisberger was put on this list along with the three other players on Tuesday this morning. So they're done for 5 days. Do the math. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So he's done for the rest of the week of practice. He comes back on Sunday to play the Bengals, perhaps. This is the same Ben Roethlisberger that was injured, wasn't supposed to play a game. They go to their backup quarterback. This was a few years ago, and I think it might have been against Cincinnati. Backup quarterback goes down with an injury. Ben comes in, throws for 400 yards. Look, as long as he tests negative between now and Sunday, again, 5 days is up on Saturday. He goes out, plays on Sunday. Pretty good chance that it happens. But Roethlisberger and three other Steelers put on the reserve COVID-19 list. And again, they're eligible to return on Sunday if they all test negative. So that is the big news coming out of Steeler Nation right now. Of course, the Browns have the same situation, although Baker Mayfield is eligible to come off his list on Wednesday, assuming that Baker tests negative, which he has been doing, and then he'll start practicing on Wednesday. As the Browns open up the post-bye portion of their schedule. They're going to be taking on the Houston Texans. Almost said the Houston Oilers. Good Lord. They'll be taking on the Texans on Sunday, and there's a pretty good chance that Nick Chubb will be back in the lineup. So good for the Browns, and we'll see what the Steelers do on Sunday with or without Roethlisberger. All right, the big news in terms of this area is still the football and soccer, which in Europe is football. Neither here nor there. Friday night at Massillon, we will have the Kennedy Newark Catholic game on ysnlive.com. Now, here's the deal. Now that we're into the semifinals and hopefully Kennedy or Springfield, and hopefully both, get into the state championship game, we will not be doing any video at all. Spectrum has the deal with the OHSAA, and because they have the deal statewide, the only thing that we can do is provide the audio. So the audio will be up, and it will be free to the public. So you go to ysnlive.com. On Friday nights at 7 o'clock, Warren JFK will be playing Newark Catholic in one of the state semifinal games. The other state semifinal will be taking place in Wapakoneta as Lima Central Catholic will be taking on New Bremen. And again, New Bremen is from that outrageously great Midwest Athletic Conference. So New Bremen plays North Lima Catholic in the other state semifinal from Wapakoneta. The winner of the Kennedy Newark Catholic game will play the winner of the Lima Central Catholic New Bremen game next Friday. That game will be played either 2 o'clock or 7 o'clock on Friday. Well, actually, it could be Friday. It could be Saturday. The state championship game could be played on Friday or Saturday, either at 2 o'clock or 7 o'clock. Saturday nights, we will be over in Zanesville as Springfield will be taking on Beverly Fort Fry, a couple of teams that are undefeated. As a matter of fact, every team in Division 6, I should say, is undefeated. Beverly Fort Fry, Springfield, Coldwater, and Columbus Grove are all 10-0. And they will be playing each other, Beverly Fort Fry and Springfield from Zanesville, Saturday night at 7 o'clock. Coldwater will be playing Columbus Grove from Sydney High School, Saturday night at 7 o'clock. And the winner of those two games will face off, and it could be Saturday, it could be Sunday. So we'll see how they put this. But again, Springfield will be taking on Beverly Fort Fry from Zanesville High School. Now, how to get to Zanesville? Take 77 south, just past Cambridge, where 77 and 70 intersect. 77 goes north and south. 70 goes east and west. You would simply go on 77 until you hit I-70, and then take I-70 toward Columbus in about 10 miles, I want to say. Not even that. Could be less. I'm not 100% sure. But in about 10 miles, you run into Zanesville. And then, obviously, the school is just off the interstate. So it's about a 2-hour and change drive for the folks in the Mahoning Valley, if you're fortunate enough to get a ticket. Again, we do live in a COVID world where, unfortunately, only, 1,500 people, assuming that Zanesville has a 10,000-seat stadium. If they don't, then it's going to be less than 1,500 people are allowed to go to the event. But again, Friday nights, Kennedy will be playing Newark Catholic. Massillon does hold well over 10,000, so it is a 1,500-person limit on Friday night. Kennedy taking on Newark Catholic. That game from Massillon, Paul Brown Tigers Stadium. That game will start at 7 o'clock. We'll have the coverage for you, the audio coverage. It will be free to the public. Go to ysnlive.com. Saturday night, again, audio only. And we're only doing audio because of the fact that Spectrum has the television rights to the state playoffs. So now that we're in the semifinals and next week we get into the state championship game, Spectrum will have the rights to all of the games in terms of televising them. So what we will do then is go back to what we did the first few years, and that's provide the audio. Springfield will be playing Beverly Fort Fry from Zanesville High School on Saturday night at 7 o'clock. Again, next weekend is the state championships from Fortress Obetz. That is south, and I want to say a little east of the city of Columbus. I'm not 100% sure on that. I do believe it's south and a little east of Columbus. I'm not a fan of the state championship format, and I want to open the phone lines and ask this, among other things, because we do have some other things to talk about. But on Friday, and again, keep in mind this Friday is the OHSAA Division I state championship game because D1 is a week ahead of D2 through D7. Pickerington Central will be playing Cincinnati St. Xavier for the state championship. X is 11-0. Pickerington Central is 9-2. Best of luck to both teams. Next Friday, the schedule as it stands right now, the 2 o'clock game on Friday afternoon would be either the Division II, Division III, or Division 7 game. That's on Friday at 2 o'clock. And again, this Friday, D2, D3, and D7 are playing in the state semifinals. Next Saturday, or I should say this Saturday night, D4, D5, and D6 are playing in the state semifinals. Next weekend, D2, D3, or D7 will play at 2 o'clock, and D2, D3, or D7 will play at 7 o'clock. On Saturday, Division 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7 will be playing at 2 o'clock, which doesn't make any sense, but neither here nor there. Divisions 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7 will be playing next Saturday at 7 o'clock. And then you run into something that I think is completely wrong. It just is. It's completely wrong, and that is high school football on a Sunday. That would be D4, D5, or D6. The game would start at 7 p.m. on Sunday nights. If you unpack some of this stuff, first of all, it's completely wrong that you're doing a game on Sunday. That's number one. Just my personal opinion. I think it's completely wrong to do a high school state playoff game on a Sunday. To have it on a Sunday at 7 o'clock, that's multiplied wrong. Think about this for a second. Let's assume for a second that Springfield is playing a state championship game because it's D6 and D7 is not playing on Sunday, so we'll go to D6. Springfield plays a state championship game, and we'll say they play Coldwater in a battle of two 11-0 teams, and this game is going to be played on Sunday night at 7 o'clock. The game is over at about, 9:30. Is that accurate? 9:30, close to 10 o'clock? I mean, on a normal Friday night, let's be honest, on a normal Friday night, that game is normally over 9:30, 10 o'clock on a 7 o'clock game. Am I right? Yeah, I am. All right, let's go into the trophy ceremonies and whatnot. Well, that's going to take a good half an hour. Pictures. Got to have pictures. You know, the winning team, and hopefully it's Springfield, got to have pictures. Come on, let's be honest. So all the rigmarole is done at 10:30. Okay. All that stuff is done at 10:30 on a Sunday night. You're probably on the bus and getting out of Dodge somewhere around 11 o'clock. Because after all, you have the trophy ceremonies and you got all the other rigmarole. We'll say 10:30. We'll be really conservative and say by 10:30 you're on the bus and you're going back home. It's a 3-hour journey. So you're in home at 1:30 in the morning. Guess what Monday is? Monday is a school day. Yeah, it's a school day. Do you really want this game to start at 7 o'clock? What the hell kind of a message are you sending kids and sending the everyone else by playing a game on a Sunday? And, oh, by the way, playing the game on a Sunday night, knowing that there's school the next day. Well, we can just cancel school. I mean, it's a special event. Okay. I guess. It just it smacks of the wrong priorities. It just does. It smacks of the wrong priorities. And I don't think there's anything wrong with doing 3 games on a Friday and 3 games on a Saturday. And I understand people want to sit here and say, well, it's COVID. You have to wipe down the stadiums. You have to do this, that, and the other. Okay, I get it. I understand. And maybe that's one of the reasons why you're doing the game on Sunday. Look, 3 games. Start the first game at 11 o'clock in the morning. 2 o'clock in the afternoon, or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 7 o'clock at night. Have the games on Friday and Saturday. Now, if you're hell-bent on playing the game on Sunday, can we please play the game on Sunday afternoon then? So let's say it's a 12 noon game or a 2 o'clock game. So that way, game's over. If it's a 2 o'clock game, game's over by 4:30. Trophy presentation, all the other rigmarole is done. You're on the bus. You're ready to go at 5:30. You get home at 8:30. You're probably in bed by 9:30, and you got school the next day. Putting the game on at 7 o'clock, it's kind of you're kind of sending the wrong message as to where our priorities are. I'm not a fan of this. First of all, I'm not a fan of a high school game being played on a Sunday, which is just it's not right. It just isn't. And maybe I lived in an era where we didn't do stuff like that on a Sunday, but and I know times have changed. I get it. Times have definitely changed. If you want to put a game on Sunday, that's fine. Put the game on in the afternoon. Putting the game on in the evening, like I said, the timetable is such where if you're not canceling school, and you shouldn't, even if you win a state championship, you shouldn't be canceling school. I'm just saying. You're home based on a 3-hour drive. You're home at no earlier than 1:30 in the morning. It doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't. All right, just that's my beef. We'll talk a little bit about this. Are you as disappointed as I am with the fact that we would have a high school game played on a Sunday? I just look. High school is completely separate in my mind from college and the pros, because college and the pros are paid an obscene amount of money to do what they do. And the games are played on a Sunday. College games are played on a Saturday. That sometimes they play on a Sunday. And look, even though they're not paid, they kind of are, because they're getting a free education, free room and board, free equipment, free tutor, free this, free that. It's not necessarily for the quote love of the game. There's a lot more at stake with college. Clearly, the pros get paid an obscene amount of money, which, in all likelihood, they earn every penny, but that's another story. High school, it's different. You're not looking at kids that are getting paid. It's just different. And I'm not a fan of a high school sporting event on a Sunday. It doesn't make any sense to me. And it wasn't like this in years gone by. And I understand times have changed. I get it. It's just this is something that for me, Sundays are a little more about college and the pros. Just my opinion. I'd love to hear your opinion on a Sunday game. Other things going on, and we're going to tie in what was announced yesterday with apparently Pfizer has they have a medicine for for those that if you want to get shot with the coronavirus vaccine, it looks like Pfizer has come up with something that might be 90% accurate, which is unbelievably successful. Now, having said all of that, I want to tie this in to what is going on now in the state of Ohio. I mean, and what we have seen to this point in the state of Ohio. Let's assume for a second that this is going in the fast lane, where this vaccine may very well be on the market in a very short period of time. And let's assume for a second that Governor DeWine, with this vaccine, says, well, I mean, if people are able to do this vaccine, we could certainly lift the rule that is in place. And the rule that's going to be in place in high school basketball, where you're allowed no more than 300 in an auditorium. Now, that's for bigger gymnasiums. The smaller ones, you're not going to have 300 people in the smaller gyms. You're going to have 15% of whatever the capacity is in the smaller gyms, which isn't going to be a whole hell of a lot. 300, I believe, is the max in a gymnasium or an auditorium. If this vaccine becomes open to the public and the decision of opening up the gyms and auditoriums is based upon whether or not you take the vaccine, what do you do at that point? And I think it's easy for some of the parents and some of the other people. Oh, look, I want to see my kid play basketball. Not that you wouldn't be able to see your kid play basketball anyway, because I mean, you're probably going to be allowed to go in. It's just the student sections that once again are going to get screwed out of all of this. But if it comes to taking the vaccine equals opening up the gyms and auditoriums, what would your stand be on that? I'd love to hear this. Look, at the end of the day, I want COVID kicked to the curb as quickly as possible, because this has just been it's been a nightmare. Not only for, and I'm going to use air quotes, not only for real life, but look, the sports world it's taken a serious hit. Make no mistake about it. I mean, the classic example, or this weekend, or this past weekend, or the many, many, many Fridays during the course of the season. I mean, look, in a normal setting, Kennedy and Newark Catholic would have a hell of a lot more than 1,500 people at Paul Brown Tiger Stadium. I can assure you of that. Unfortunately, due to what is going on, we're only going to get 1,500 people. Same can be said with Beverly, Fort Fry, and Springfield on Saturday night at Zanesville. Tiger fans would travel. Absolutely they would. If we didn't have COVID, oh my goodness, Zanesville would be rocking. Zanesville would be rocking. You get the Tigers, you got the Bobcats. Oh my Lord, this would be there'd be a lot of people in the stands in Zanesville. And unfortunately, that's not the world that we're living in right now. But it's obviously, if we have an opportunity to get a vaccine, and the vaccine could play a major role in allowing the schools to open up the gyms and auditoriums and open up the rest of the sports. I mean, it would be great if that happened. I guess my question is, how willing would you be to take a vaccine if it meant you could see any high school basketball game or baseball game, or fast forward to anything? If we had the vaccine now, would you take a vaccine in order to go to a game, a high school game? I mean, That's a question that bears asking. So that's why we're doing it. All right. So we've talked enough about football. Let's get to soccer. We do have two teams from the area that are very much alive for a state championship. Division II from Lexington High School at 7 o'clock on Wednesday night. That's Veterans Day night. Tomorrow night. Howland is 20-0 with one draw. They will be taking on Lima Shawnee. Lima Shawnee has 17 wins, 2 losses, and 1 draw. That game will be played at Lexington High School tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. The winner of that game gets the winner of the Albany Alexander and Tip City Tippecanoe on Saturday afternoon at 4 o'clock from Mapfre Stadium in Columbus. That stadium is the home of the Columbus Crew, the professional soccer team in the state of Ohio. Division III, Cardinal Mooney, 15 wins, 2 losses, and 4 draws. They are going to be playing Toledo Ottawa Hills High School. Toledo Ottawa Hills has 15 wins, 5 losses, and 1 draw. That game will be played on Wednesday night, Veterans Day night, at 7 o'clock from Mansfield High School. And the winner of that game gets the winner of the Wheelersburg and Cincinnati Marymount game. That game will be played on Saturday afternoon at 1 o'clock. By the way, it should be noted, Wheelersburg and Cincinnati Marymount are both 21-0. 21 wins, no losses, no draws. There have been 21 games played, and Marymount and Wheelersburg have won them all. So chances are, well, not a chance, but a reality, if Cardinal Mooney defeats Toledo Ottawa Hills, they will be playing an undefeated team for a state championship on Saturday afternoon at 1 o'clock, and that's assuming that Mooney can get past Toledo Ottawa Hills tomorrow night from Mansfield High School. That game starts at 7 o'clock on Veterans Day night. All right, so that's the local teams that are left. Howland and Mooney. Howland in D2 soccer, Mooney in D3 boys soccer. Football, JFK will be playing on Friday night. They're Division 7. Springfield is left in the area. They are Division 6. They will be playing on Saturday night. So 2 questions. And if you want to talk about anything else on your mind in the world of sports, hit me up on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, 330-886-0813. Poll question is one of 2. Number 1, are you okay with high school games being played on a Sunday? Are you okay with high school events played on a Sunday? That's question number 1. Question number 2, if it means you have to take the vaccine in order to go to a sporting event, high school, college, or the pros, and the only way you can go to one of these sporting events, high school, college, or the pros, is to take the soon-to-be marketed vaccine, do you do it? I'm normally one of those people that's very leery about that stuff. I'll be honest, I haven't done a flu vaccine ever. And it's just my choice. I've never gotten a flu shot. And I got to be honest, I don't even know if I would get a COVID shot. To be honest with you, I honestly don't know if I would do a COVID shot. I've definitely never had a flu shot. I'll take my chances. The older I get, it probably wise for me to get a flu shot, but I just never had one. Now, then again, I've never been, and I got to knock on wood when I say this, it's been a long time since I have had legitimate down on your back, you're in all kinds of sickness type of flu. Knock on wood, I haven't had that in a while. It's been years since I've had the flu where I'm on my back, blah, blah, blah. Hey, you get sick for a day or so, but, not one of those 5-6 day, oh my God, the world is coming to an end. When is this flu getting by me? Why do I feel so achy and disgusting? Yeah, I haven't had that in a long, long time, and I hope I didn't jinx myself. And maybe I should get this shot now that I said that. And I got to be honest, I'm not sure that I'm going to want to take the COVID vaccine, even though it's being told that it could be 90% foolproof, which is pretty damn good. That's a great number. But let me spin this to fit our format. If going to a sporting event, the only way you can do it is by getting a COVID vaccine. Do you do it? How big is going to a sporting event? And it could be high school, it could be college, it could be pros. How big is the is going to that event? I mean, is it big enough to where you're like on board with getting a COVID vaccine? If that's the only way you can go to the sporting event, I'm curious. 330-886-0813. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business. Coming up in about a half an hour, we will hear from Doug Chapin. Doug Chapin is the Tribune Chronicle and Vindicator sports editor. He will join us at 1 o'clock. We'll take some phone calls on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, 330-886-0813. It is a Tuesday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Plenty of stuff to talk about. We got high school football. We got boys soccer. You want to talk some basketball? We can do that as well. Also, we're now officially halfway through the National Football League season. If you're a Browns fan, if you're a Steelers fan, kindly give me your team's grade halfway through the season. Give me a grade. I want you to be a teacher for a second, and I want you to give me a grade on your favorite team. And then let me know the chances of your team going into the playoffs. Playoffs? Yeah, playoffs. All right, 330-886-0813. We're back in a bit. It's a Tuesday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown.
21 News.
Let's get right to our top story tonight.
More experienced reporters.
A new Wilmington restaurant.
GM Lordstown.
Telling more local stories.
We'll look at
Baby boy is recovering from a broken
around our valley.
Community in Niles. We are here in Youngstown, right up.
Because you expect
It's important for everyone. No place like home.
more local news.
In Mercer County Court.
21 News is our valley's #1 local news.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
Attention football fans, order Coca's Pizza tailgate package for only $54.99. You'll receive 24 slices of our delicious cheese pizza, 20 jumbo wings, and 2 of our famous foot-long pepperoni rolls. Coca's Pizza, we serve it hot.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsuranceSolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Your Armstrong services are more important than ever. There are more and more connected devices in the home these days. To get the most out of your experience, you need a network that is always getting better. You deserve superior performance, and that's what Armstrong offers every day. Whether you're working from home, enjoying your favorite content together, or simply catching up while apart, count on Armstrong to keep you connected to what matters most.
I went to Greenwood Chevrolet because I was really interested in looking at the tracks.
Because I wanted my dream truck.
Because I've been going there for 20 years. I think whenever we go there, whatever car we're looking for, they have tremendous inventory.
If you're looking for people who care about you, Greenwood is the place to go.
You know, it's like family there. The girls know me in service. It's Miss Kim in the Tahoe.
I'm really happy that I went
to Greenwood Chevrolet.
Because they really went
the extra mile for me.
Now we're going the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
For heating, cooling, and indoor air quality, the Mahoning Valley trusts MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning, offering worry-free repair, service, and installation. Call MP Vivo today for a free estimate.
MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. We're your energy-efficient experts.
Welcome back to a Tuesday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline open for business. 330-886-0813. Champ joins us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline. What up, Champ?
First of all, I want to congratulate you. They better break this Bills team up before it's too late. They're getting too good.
Hey, I enjoyed watching that game on Sunday, and it was interesting. Josh Allen lost his grandmother late last week, and he played out of his mind on Sunday. And I'm one of those people that absolutely, positively believes in a higher power. And I think Exhibit A might very well be Josh Allen's performance against Seattle on Sunday, because that was unbelievable what he was able to do.
Well, after every weekend of the NFL football, I fill out the order of the playoffs. And granted, we don't know if there's going to be 8 teams or 7 teams, depending on if they need to use Week 18, I guess. But I was figuring out the AFC, and when it was done, I had a big, oh my God, because right now the Raiders would be playing at Buffalo in the first round. It would be 6-3, and I don't want that. I mean, but I got to be honest with you, I don't really want them to go to Buffalo at this point of the season, if they even have that situation. But I'm going to start off with, before I get to other stuff, I'm going to grade my favorite team, the Las Vegas Raiders, and I'm going to give them, at this point, a B+, only because, they had some free agent signings in the offseason, which you could probably say you could give them a D for those guys that came in, except for the Wiskowski, I think is the linebacker from Chicago, has been very effective. But the reason why this Raider team is playing well is because of the last 3 years in terms of the draft. And I give Mayock a lot of credit for that. They've got a lot of gems in the draft, and they picked up some players like Waller. But their offensive line this past week was missing 3 starters still, and we're talking about, guys, huge guys. So they're doing this basically with second and third stringers. I mean, they were down to their 4th-string tackle this week, a guy they drafted a few years back who played very well. But I'll give them a B+, and I think their schedule is not really that tough. Now, granted, they got Denver at home, and then they got Kansas City at home, but then they got road games at Atlanta, at the Jets, and then they have 3 straight home games with Indy, the Chargers, and Miami, and then they finish at Denver. So the schedule is very workable, and the good thing is they play teams like Miami and Indy that are teams they're battling with for that wild card position. But I'll give them a B+ right now, but there's no guarantees to me that they will make the playoffs. But if they stay healthy with that powerful running game, and the defense we know it is what it is on defense, but they're starting to get a better play out of their front 4 and front 7, which is crucial to them. And but yeah, I'll give them a B+.
Well, I'll tell you what, Champ, the playoffs are in their own hands. I mean, let's be honest. Miami and Indianapolis, they go to the Death Star in Vegas. It's not like Vegas is going to Miami or Indianapolis. They're coming to them, and you hit the nail on the head. I mean, the Raiders are 5-3. So are the Dolphins. So are the Colts. So are the Browns. And Vegas has already played and beaten the Browns. So they have that that advantage over Cleveland. Now, if they get that advantage over Miami and Indianapolis at head-to-head, which is so incredibly important when we start deciphering wild card teams, then clearly Vegas will be a playoff team. So they're playoffs, and they control their own destiny in terms of a wild card and in terms of how high up the food chain they get.
Plus, they've beaten two teams that very easily could be in this year's Super Bowl. That's Kansas City and New Orleans. Those are two impressive wins, and they won at Carolina. They beat at Cleveland. The New England game was ugly. That was an ugly game, and also the Tampa Bay game was ugly. But that was following that 2-week where they didn't have any linemen, and it was just a chaos. And actually, that probably propelled them to the win over Cleveland because they were just glad to get back to be playing football again. But I'm encouraged at this point. But I think the best player no one's talking about is Derek Carr. I think he's had a really good season. He's doing exactly what Gruden wants him to do, manage that team. They've got a lot of young talent in running backs, tight end, and receivers. And I think the key is he's not making hardly any mistakes. He's only throwing 2 interceptions, and he's actually starting to throw the ball down the field. But Aguilar was the guy they picked up in the off season that really I didn't think was going to be much of an impact, but he's made a big impact, that wide receiver Aguilar they got from the Eagles.
No, I love that kid. Nelson Aguilar can play football, and he. You're right. He's made a terrific impact, and this Vegas team. I didn't think that they were going to be this good, this quickly. But man, they're opening my eyes now. Obviously, the second half of the season. Let's start separating the pretenders from the contenders, and like I said, Vegas has everything in. They have destiny in their own hands. I mean, all they need to do is protect home field, and then you'll have head-to-head victories over Miami and Indianapolis, and your road schedule isn't all that bad. So Vegas, if they play their cards right, see what I did there. They have a shot. They have a legitimate shot at being a playoff team this year.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the difference between a playoff team and a non-playoff team is beating the teams you should beat, and that's where I'm not sure yet. I mean, even though at the Jets and Atlanta looked like games they could win, you just never know in the NFL because look at Pittsburgh against Dallas this weekend. I mean, it's amazing to me how when you have the NFL ticket like I have in 3 televisions, it's amazing how many of these games literally come down to the last possession in most of them. It's just that's just what the NFL is all about. And it seems like the good teams find a way to win, and the bad teams cannot win. Evidenced by what's happening with the Raider game and the Charger game this week. Because the Chargers, I tell you what. That Herbert quarterback is really looking good. I mean, that guy looks like he's going to be a very good quarterback. He's tall. He's got a strong arm, and he can move around the pocket. But I think the Chargers really lucked out but maybe a good choice. He looks to be a winner in my opinion.
No, I agree with that. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I saw a few of his games when he was in college at Oregon, and I thought this kid was good enough to be in the NFL, and I clearly thought someone would get him in the top 10. And Miami might have whiffed on him. The book is still out on both Tua and Herbert, but I think Herbert has a better chance at being a better quarterback long term in the NFL than Tua does.
Yeah, and once again, we see how important it is what a quarterback can do to a squad. I mean, look at Miami. All of a sudden, they were not a good football team last year, and even though the backup, the veteran, did a nice job, but they seem to have a lot of momentum, and that's the team that. In fact, if you're a Browns fan, you got to start paying attention to these wild card tiebreakers, and the one that a lot of people don't realize because after the conference, it's this record among common opponents. And that's where you got to really watch who you're playing and the guys. That's why you want to watch Indy and the Raiders and Miami, who they're playing, that the Browns are also playing, because that a lot of times that record among common opponents is used in determining playoff who's going to be in the playoffs, who's not. And the one right after that is called strength of victory. So that's why it's good to beat. I mean, when you beat a team like the Jets, that's not going to help you. But you beat a team that's got 5 or 6 wins at this point in the season, that's really going to help you.
No question. And the one team that Cleveland has beaten head-to-head is Indianapolis. So at 5-3, right. If it come down to Indianapolis and Cleveland would get the playoff spot due to a head-to-head. Now, unfortunately for Cleveland, if it came down to Cleveland and Las Vegas Las Vegas would go to the playoffs because they have the head-to-head victory over Cleveland.
Yeah, the only way, and that's also another thing that people forget, is that when you have a two-way tie, obviously it's a no-brainer head-to-head, but you throw a third team in there, then the head-to-head a lot of times is thrown out. And then you go to the conference record, then you go to the record among common opponents. So that's why sometimes the more the merrier in the playoff tiebreakers. If you've lost to a team, you want more teams. That helps you out.
No question. And it goes without saying that those games against the NFC, okay, all games are important. Make no mistake about that. But if in a perfect world, you want to go 11-5 or 12-4, and all of those losses should be to the other conference. So let's see, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Baltimore, and Pittsburgh are all playing the AFC or the NFC East this year. So if it's Cleveland, you want to lose to Philadelphia, Washington, Dallas, and the New York Giants. I mean, absolutely you do, because the AFC games are going to be what determines the three or more team head-to-head or conference record thing. If you lose to the other conference, that's not a bad thing. But if you lose in your own conference, the more games you lose in your own conference, the smaller the opportunity for you to go into the playoffs.
Yeah, the one exception to that rule, Ron, would be within your own division. If you have a tie within your own division for either a wild card or the division, then what's different about that is that instead of going to the record, instead of the conference record, you would go to the record among common opponents first. So those games will mean something because you're obviously playing that same NFC division. So that's when that would be the only time that those games would be important. If you're in a tie with someone within your own division, then those games would go ahead of the conference record because there's more to judge when you have record among common opponents than there is conference record, and that's the only difference there. But you're right. If you're going against another team from another division, those out of conference games really mean nothing.
Yeah, it's nice to pad your win total, but in terms of determining the playoffs, more often than not, the playoffs are determined by your head-to-head and your conference opponents. Very rarely does it go to the teams in the other conference. So that's why that when you're playing teams in your own conference and specifically your own division, it is those divisional games are extremely important. The conference games are very important, and then the games against the NFC or the other conference not nearly as important.
Yeah, as far as the high school playing on Sunday, I don't get it. I guess I'm more upset about them playing during the possible airing of The Walking Dead than anything else. But anyways, but I think they're off for a while, though. Who knows when they're coming back? But they have this other thing called Fear the Walking Dead, which I really haven't checked out. The Walking Dead's good enough for me. It scares me enough. But yeah, Sunday night, 7:00. I mean, really? I mean, there's no other options than that. And considering that the Division I, they're going to finish their season this weekend, right? Division I finals are this weekend.
Yeah, Friday night at 7:00. The D1 championship is Pickerington Central against Cincinnati St. Xavier.
I mean, you got all day Friday and all day. I mean, I don't get it. And why not play it on Thursday night? I don't know what they got scheduled, but they got 6 divisions to compete in 2 weeks for that. But I don't understand why they would do that. But I'm not in charge of that. But it is exciting to watch the two teams that are left, and obviously Springfield. I mean, getting so far last year and just had a tough time, obviously, with Anna in that championship game. But they seem to be on a mission, and all you got to use for evidence is that the way they won that last game. I mean, who calls a triple reverse pass with 5 seconds to go? Springfield does.
And it was ballsy because if Brungard gets sacked, or if the play gets blown up, I don't know if Springfield has a timeout left. And if he gets sacked, then you're out of field goal range, and now you're really hurting. So it was a very gutsy call, but it was perfectly done. There's no two ways about that.
Yeah, remember when Mark Brumgard was the quarterback of YSU, led him to 2 national championships. So obviously that family knows what it's like to win championships. And I remember I played on a softball team way back when we won the state championship 3 years in a row. and the left fielder was Matt Brumgard, and the third baseman was Mark Brungard, and I played first, and that's the first time I had to go out and actually get a sponge for my first base mitt because how hard Mark Brungard used to throw the ball over from third base, and I tell you what, it was worth it, though, because they were tremendous players and athletes, just like they're obviously the son and the nephew is today.
No question. No question about that. So you're kind of confused by the Sunday night thing as well as I am. I mean, look,
yeah.
I'm not big on Sunday games because I think it sends the wrong message for high school sports to be played on a Sunday. For me, I'm old school when it comes to that stuff. Give me an event Monday through Saturday. Sunday is no school. Sunday is a time where you're not doing anything school-related. You should be with your family. If you're watching a sporting event involving college or the pros, all right, that's great. But to me, Sunday is not a day for a scholastic event. It just isn't.
Now I'll close with college football because you and I are both diehard Notre Dame fans, and that was a fun game to watch. But we also are history buffs, and remember this is a Florida State win. It was a great win way back in 1988, 89. That was actually 93, I think, 93.
Yeah, 93.
And the very next week, a Boston College team comes to Notre Dame and heartbreaking defeat on that last-second field goal. And here we are, deja vu all over again. We're going to Boston College with a former Notre Dame quarterback who wasn't even. And one of the deals they had, I remember when they were going to release him from his scholarship, was that he would go to a team that wouldn't play Notre Dame the following season. Well, originally that was the case, but when they revamped the schedule and Notre Dame joined the ACC, they added Boston College to the schedule, and now here we go. We're going to go against this former Notre Dame recruit on the road, but you know what? This is why I think this is a different Notre Dame team. I think that they have shown the ability, as you know, in the last 2 or 3 years, when they play a team they're better than, they usually just do what they have to do, just take the ball and run it down their throats. And I anticipate, hopefully, that they'll do this, but I'm scared to death of this next game.
Oh no! Listen, you're preaching to the choir. I think that Notre Dame is going to have their hands full. I think Notre Dame is, and it's not just this game. Next week Notre Dame has to play a really good North Carolina team. So this is far from being a slam dunk. Notre Dame has to play 4 more games in order for the Irish to get to the ACC title game, and you got to take it one day at a time. Obviously, you got Boston College this Saturday. You'll be off the following Saturday. Then play on a Friday night in Chapel Hill against North Carolina. Home to Syracuse, and then you go back to North Carolina to take on Wake Forest. And hopefully Notre Dame is undefeated going into the ACC championship game. And, Champ, I'll be honest, that the reason why I'm so happy with the victory over Clemson, obviously it's the number 1 ranked team, even though they were missing 3 starters on the defense and they were missing their starting quarterback. And I'm not going to sit here and tell everyone that Notre Dame should be number 1 because, frankly, they didn't beat the number 1 ranked team in the country. They beat the team that's ranked number 1 that did not have healthy bodies. So I'm not going to sugarcoat and say that Notre Dame accomplished the unthinkable by beating Trevor Lawrence and the entire cast of characters, because they didn't. But they had to get that victory, because if Notre Dame loses another game, had they lost to Clemson and they lose another game, there's a very good chance Notre Dame is not even in the ACC championship game. And I'm going to tell you right now, the same can be said for Clemson. Now, granted, I think Clemson is going to be fine. I think that Clemson is going to run the table, and everything should be good. But they're 6-1 now. They've already beaten the U, so the U is not. They're not the problem. They have the tiebreaker against the U. That's not going to be in question. Their problem right now is Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech has 2 losses, and if they win out up to the Virginia Tech game, Saturday night, December the 5th in Blacksburg, Clemson will play Virginia Tech. the winner of that game would play Notre Dame, assuming Notre Dame finishes unbeaten, for the ACC championship. Listen, it's tough enough to play on a Saturday night in Blacksburg, Virginia. You put all of that on the table, I'm not necessarily convinced that Clemson gets out of Blacksburg with a victory. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I think Clemson will probably use the phrase, give me liberty or give me death. They'll say, no, give me liberty's game plan, because they just beat Virginia Tech. And that'll be something to watch. But I will argue that I know if Notre Dame does play rematch against Clemson in the ACC championship game, I think it's almost as important that Notre Dame dispatches these next four opponents impressively, because I think that could set up a close loss by Notre Dame and put them still in the playoffs. But they have to be impressive in these next four games, because these are teams they should beat. And if they start winning these close games or losing it, then they're going to be out of this playoff situation. But they got to be really impressive in these next four games, and I think that sets them up pretty well. Even if they lose a close game to Clemson, you got to consider them as one of the four playoff teams.
Well, I agree with that. I mean, if they're 11-0 going into the Clemson game, and they play Clemson really tough within a touchdown, you can make a serious argument that Notre Dame should be among the top four. Now, whether or not the committee would go along with that remains to be seen. And again, a lot of things have to go right for that scenario to take place. I mean, we got a long, long way to go. And I guess we should all just concentrate on Boston College, because the scenario you painted, it is deja vu all over again. And don't think for a second that I didn't think about that already. It's deja vu, and I'm petrified at going to Chestnut Hill to play this team. But hopefully, this is a different Notre Dame team.
You know, I got to say finally before I go, pat on the back to Ian Book. You know, Ian Book fumbled at the 4-yard line. You saw the look on his face, and I remember saying to me, that's the ball game. But give him credit, because when he took that team down the field to tie that game up, and then eventually won in overtime, I think he's playing the best quarterback of his career at Notre Dame, and importantly, because he kind of reminds me of Derek Carr. He's not spectacular, but he doesn't make a lot of mistakes. And I tell you, his ability to scramble and pick up first downs has been a dangerous weapon for them right now. But kudos to him. I thought he played a really good game against Clemson. And after the fumble, he could have fallen apart. The team could have fallen apart, but he hung in there and took him down the field to tie that game up and eventually win in overtime. So kudos to Ian Book, who's taken a lot of criticism. But you know what? He was a gamer on that in Saturday night, and hopefully he'll continue this play.
Agreed, and especially the way he threw the ball down the field. He was not scared to throw the ball down the field, unlike the last time Notre Dame played Clemson. I agree with you. You know, it could have very easily went sideways when Book didn't have the ball secured on the 4-yard line and he fumbled the ball. The game could have gone sideways, and it didn't. And Ian Book is to be commended for his performance against Clemson last week, and no doubt, no two ways about it.
You know, the Irish are still without their two top receivers. We forget that, too.
No,
One's out for the year. And that's a problem, because they don't really have what I consider game breaker. Although they got a lot of guys that have played running back and quarterback that are now playing receiver, but they're hanging in there. But they still have that veteran offensive line and a veteran quarterback, and that front seven to me is ferocious. They're playing tremendous football right now.
No two ways about it. Hey, always a pleasure, champ.
Okay, Ryan.
Thank you, sir. All right, 330-886-0813. We'll take a timeout. On the other end, we will hear from the Tribune Chronicle and Vindicator sports editor, Doug Chapin. He's coming up in a bit. Stick around.
Hello, I'm Greg Burbick with G. Burbick Farms. For the last 100 years, my family has farmed in Columbiana and Mahoning counties. I began raising cattle in 1996 with the goal of providing a better product for you and your family on the dinner table. Our grass-fed and grain-supplemented Black Angus beef are raised with no hormones, steroids, or antibiotics. We're known for our hometown-friendly service and incredible tasting products. We're locally owned and have customers across the tri-state area. Our products go from our farm to your family. Stop by our farm on New Buffalo Road or visit us on the web at gburbickfarms.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. G. Burbick Farms, it just tastes better.
Tim Myers with Myers Family Insurance, your local Medicare and retirement resource. We're excited to have sports back. Whether you're on the field or cheering from the stands, sports unifies communities and brings hope for the future. We're all one team working together. At Myers Family Insurance, we know the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Welcome back to a Tuesday edition of Running Points on ysnlive.com. Ron Potesta with you. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business. 330-886-0813, and it is on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline where we welcome in Doug Chapin, the Tribune Chronicle and Vindicator Sports Editor. Doug, how are you today, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. So before the season started, a bunch of us all got together and we pretty much said unanimously the area has two teams that have a really, really good chance at doing some serious damage in the high school football playoffs, and that would have been Springfield and Warren JFK. And here we are, fast forward into early November in this COVID world in which we're living in. We're in the state semifinals, and lo and behold, Springfield and Warren JFK are the lone two teams left in the area, and it just to me it was a no-brainer, and it proved that these two teams are our best opportunity to pick up state championships.
Well, yeah, you have to be the semifinals if you're going to win the state championship. So with nobody left, but yeah, I mean from the start, Springfield played in the state final last year and had a lot of people back, including most of their key players. Kennedy's always strong. They're always they play a schedule probably as difficult as most Division VII schools play during the regular season, so that prepares them for tournament play. I can't say I was predicted who was going to be there, but those two would be as much as anybody the ones you'd say before the season started had the best chance.
Warren JFK on Friday night will be playing Newark Catholic, and you and I grew up in about the same era, and I remember Newark Catholic being this unbelievably great program in the late 70s and early 80s, where the Green Wave were simply the gold standard in Class A football. Now, I don't think that they are as nearly as good as they were in that era, but Newark Catholic in the last few years has actually been quite an interesting football team, and as they're trying to get that tradition back. It's hard to believe, Doug, these two teams have never played each other. All the tournament success that Kennedy and Newark Catholic have, and these two teams have never played each other once.
I guess so. You would have expected it because Newark Catholic does have that long tradition of good football and most sports overall, basically. And Kennedy does too. So, that is sort of a surprise.
So these two teams will be playing each other in Massillon High School. And look, in a normal setting, you'd probably have a pretty nice-sized crowd at Massillon. Unfortunately, just 1,500 people can attend the game. Same can be said for Springfield. They're taking on Beverly Fort Fry at Zanesville High School, which is about a 2-hour and change drive down I-77 and headed west on I-70. Springfield is in a region in a division. Only two divisions have 4 undefeated teams in their division. D6 is one, D5 is the other one. If you look at the 4 teams left in D6 and D7, is Kennedy in a better position because of the fact that all of the teams in their division have actually lost once, twice, and in one case 3 times?
I don't know that. You just have a separate look at who they've played. I mean, if you're losing to a division, if you're Division 7 and you're losing to somebody in Division 3 or 2, then that you can write that off as, okay, they weren't expected to win that game. So it depends on who they lost to and who they've beaten. I think it's so hard to compare parts of the state, when you're looking at that, whatever sport it is. So I don't know that gives anybody any edge or not, whether you go undefeated or not go undefeated, because it just depends on who you play.
There is a chance next weekend, and again, knock on wood, Kennedy and Springfield both get victories, but there is a chance next weekend where our local teams, should they win, could be going up against two of the teams from that very successful Midwest Athletic Conference out in Western Ohio. New Bremen is still alive, and they're a member of the Midwest Athletic Conference. They knocked off Maria Stein Marion Local in their regional championship game. Coldwater is still alive in Division 6, and they're also a member of the Midwest Athletic Conference. It would be kind of interesting to see our two local teams take on two teams from arguably the best conference in the state of Ohio in terms of small schools.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I mean, it would be a Northeast Ohio or Mahoning Valley matchup against that league. And, I was surprised to see New Bremen is not a name you see a lot at this stage of the tournament. Marion Local is, and I don't know the details of that game, or I'm assuming it was considered an upset out there. Although I don't know, maybe New Bremen has the team of a generation at their school. So you just know at this stage the teams are really, really good, and win or lose, both teams that play in the state semifinal are very, very good teams. And, nothing should be taken away from losing a state semi or a state championship game.
Oh, there's no two ways about that. Once you get to the state semifinals, I've often said you're playing with house money. If you get to the state semifinals, you've done something incredible. And look, if you can win two more games and finish at home and bring home the hardware, fantastic. But to say that your success is going to be based upon what you do in these next two games. No. You've already had a successful year if you're one of the four teams left in your chosen sport and you go to a state tournament.
Yeah, that's certainly the case. And I think sometimes we in the media put too much emphasis on whether you win a championship or not. And that comes down from the professional leagues and college, that so many fans and media and even people involved simply say if you don't win, if you finish second, you're just like you finished 88, and that's not the case. That's especially in high school sports. It really takes a heck of a lot of hard work, of good play, of everything going well for you to get to a position like this. So, losing at this point is not a negative.
Doug, I want to ask you, and we're speaking with Doug Chapin, the Tribune Chronicle and Vindicator sports editor. He joins us every Tuesday at this time on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. I grew up in an era where high school sports were to be played on a Friday or a Saturday, and we're talking high school football or boys basketball. Frankly, Monday through Saturday, you can play a high school event. But for me, and again, I grew up in this era, Sundays were not for high school sports. Sundays were for the kids to spend some time with the family or watch a college event or a pro event. And here we are on Sunday, November the 22nd. If we do have a local team, and it would be Division 6 would be involved, Division 7 would not. So if Springfield were to beat Beverly Fort Fry, there is a chance that Springfield would be playing a game on a Sunday afternoon for a state championship. I want to ask, are you okay with high school sports being played on a Sunday?
I think that the OHSA is not okay with that, but they're in a situation with the COVID, I think, that forced them into doing something like that. I don't think they want to do it, but I think they ended up being that they figured out the best way of doing it. Now, here's the thing. You've got all these high school kids probably play travel ball of some sort, and the travel teams play all day Sunday. They play from 8 a.m. Sunday till 4 o'clock and go home to their tournaments. So, if it's not that big a deal for that, why isn't it for high school? Now, I understand, and I prefer that Sunday not be played for high school sports, not be used for high school sports. But I think in this case they felt they had to. And there have been a couple of other times where, excuse me, a high school event was played on a Sunday. Some of those holiday tournament basketball games go to Sunday. There are some bowling, high school bowling tournaments that play on Saturday and Sunday. So it's not as cut and dried as it once was. And I prefer they not play on Sunday, but sometimes they have to. And again, the summer sports, the non-high school sports, are playing all day on Sunday.
And you're right. I mean, if you go to Scene Park or you go to a couple of other venues, you're going to watch baseball games played on a Sunday in the summertime. And you're right about travel sports. If you're playing travel basketball, travel baseball, whatever, travel volleyball, they're playing on a Sunday. And again, I'm not big on kids playing on a Sunday. I'm not big on it at all, but especially a high school sanctioned event. But I guess that line was crossed years ago, and I guess I'm being an old timer with this argument, I suppose.
And you could argue too that a family, mom, dad, brothers and sisters, when they go to their sister's softball tournament, wherever it is, and they spend Friday, Saturday, and Sunday together, they're together as a family, just as much as they would be if they sat at home and all looked at their mobile devices and didn't say a word to each other. So I'm not making that argument, but some could, that they're at least they're together as a family. And if you in a high school football game or volleyball match or whatever on a Sunday, if in a normal year parents would be there, brothers and sisters would be there, aunts and uncles would be there, grandma and grandpa would be there, so the family would be getting together on a Sunday. You're right. A long time ago, that line was crossed, and it is what it is now.
Let's switch over to boys soccer, where we have two teams that are going to be vying, hopefully, for a state championship. Tomorrow night, Howland will be taking on Lima Shawnee at Lexington High School. That game starts at 7 o'clock. Howland was able to get the victory over Bay Village Bay and then secure the regional championship with a victory over Chagrin Falls on Saturday. Also tomorrow night, Cardinal Mooney off their victory against South Range at South Range on Saturday. Mooney will be playing Toledo Ottawa Hills on Wednesday night at Mansfield High School. Both games are going to be starting at 7 o'clock. Do we have a really good chance of having both of these teams go to a state championship game, Doug?
Sure. Howland did last year. And to many people, the state championship game was played in the regional semifinal against Bay, who was the number one ranked team in the state. But Tippecanoe, who beat Howland last year in the final, is still there in the other bracket, and they're undefeated. So, I think this Howland team, from everybody I've talked to, knows soccer. They're really, really, really good. It's like head and shoulders good above most teams. But of course, you go other parts of the state. In some places, soccer's a little bit stronger than it is around here. Although I have to say the area is catching up pretty well. And Mooney certainly has a chance. The Toledo area, to my knowledge, isn't as strong soccer-wise as far as non-school soccer as west side of Cleveland, the Akron-Canton area, Cincinnati area is really strong. Columbus, and Mahoning Valley's getting better. So I think both of them have a chance to get to the championship game, and that's in that sport especially. And I guess even the football in most years, the chance to get to play on a big time venue like Montfrey Stadium for soccer and the Hall of Fame Stadium in Canton for football in the past, and now this new place down in near Columbus. That's always fun too. Win or lose in the state championship, getting a chance to set foot and play competitively on a big time professional venue is really fun for these kids.
Oh yeah, no mistake. They're going to be playing the state championship game at the home of the Columbus Crew, and it doesn't get much better than that. That's the professional soccer team in the state of Ohio, and that stadium, Mopfree Stadium, is absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, I've never had a chance to get down there for one of their games, but I hear everything about it is great.
Doug Chapin, our guest, he is the Tribune Chronicle and Vindicator Sports editor. He joins me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline. So here we are on the precipice of a high school basketball season. As we're getting closer and closer to the season, kids are now starting to get in the gym practicing, and the season, I should say, is supposed to be starting for the boys the day after Thanksgiving. We'll see just how quickly the season starts. I made a question, and I wanted to ask you, and obviously for us in the media, it's a little bit different because we can cover a game and not have too big of a problem going into venues to cover a game, COVID or non-COVID. It's not that big of a deal for us. But as a fan, assuming that this vaccine is going to be coming on the market very quickly, if going to a sporting event, whether it be high school, college, or the pros, is based upon whether or not you take this vaccine, how many sports fans do you believe would take the vaccine knowing that, okay, if going to a sporting event means I have to take this vaccine, I'm going to take the vaccine and be done with it?
I don't know that would come into the thinking of anyone. I think the first thing you think of is if I want to be healthy or avoid getting this disease, I would take the vaccine. I suppose there might be some people that base their decision on whether or not they can get into a sporting event. I certainly wouldn't. That'd be, far down the list.
It's kind of a sad commentary if that's at the top of your list, but I'm just saying.
I think it would be, but that's everybody's themselves. I mean, and some people are going to refuse to take it just because they think it's some crazy. I don't know. There's got to be some conspiracy theory about why not to take it, but whatever. That's up to them. And I don't think that. I think that what is going to happen is even when the first vaccine or vaccines come out, the precautions will still be taken as far as the masks, the social distancing, that kind of thing, because it's pretty much shows that it works to slow the spread. Now, once, and that's the key. Now, when the vaccine comes and enough people get it and take it, then it ends up being a disease or a virus similar to others that we've had in the past that have been controlled. But I still think for a while there will be we'll still have the protocols to try to keep the spread of it down.
Well, obviously, with basketball season coming around, and look, I mean, it's one thing to put 15% of all stadiums. Now, if a stadium is 3,000, that means that you can have 450 people. It's a little bit different in a gymnasium. I mean, gymnasiums, the smaller schools have gymnasiums that seat, let's say, 1,200. Okay, now you're looking at only 180 people in a 1,200-seat gymnasium going to watch a basketball game. That's there's a big difference in those numbers.
Sure. Well, it happened this last fall in volleyball, I'm not going to argue that volleyball crowds are going to be bigger than basketball crowds for the most part, and it's very possible that in some schools, 100% of the people that wanted to go to that volleyball match were there, and they still could have put more in there even with the restrictions. But the officials have had a chance through volleyball to get an idea what it's going to be like, what the seating is going to be like, how to spread the people out, and all that. So I don't think it will be as difficult, except for the fact that you're right. There will be very small numbers And when you add up the, if you allow 2 parents for each kid into the game, you may not have enough for the visiting team, enough tickets. You may find that people want to come see the JV game and not the varsity. They're going to ask them to leave after the JV game, and then the varsity only fans would come in after that. I don't know that for sure, but that's a possibility. So yeah, you're right. It's much different inside, obviously, because the way the virus spreads in the outside, it can spread anywhere. But when you're inside, it stays in a confined area, and it's much more conducive to spreading from one person to another. So, yeah, that's going to be something. Now, we have talked in the last couple of years about how basketball crowds are dwindling anyway. After this, if there are fans out there who simply go to watch the local high school team, the home team, play basketball, and they're not going to be able to get to the games this year, will they come back the following year? Who knows? We'll have to see how that works.
Let me ask you, with basketball season coming up, are you guys going to be putting in a basketball preview?
That's up to the advertising department. I don't know yet. In the past, ours has always come out on the day after Thanksgiving, and we are compiling. In fact, last week I sent out the form for the coaches to fill out. We've gotten several of those back already. Whether we do a preview as all of them on one day, if we don't have that, what we usually do is on Sundays we do 20 to 30 schools in the various sports every Sunday. We do that for about 3 or 4 Sundays in a row. So all the schools that we get the information from, they'll be in the paper somehow. The coaches that don't return those forms, they're not going to be in the paper. So, yeah, we started even before football ended, we started into thinking about the winter sports and what we've got to do there. And so it's sometimes the between seasons time, which a lot of people think is a lull for us, is sometimes that's even busier than during the season itself.
No doubt. I mean, you still have 2 teams left in high school football, and oh, by the way, you're still trying to gather information for boys and girls basketball. And look, we're not gonna say that it's as popular as football, because it isn't. But we do have a resurgence of talent in terms of how good our basketball really is in this area. It's gotten a whole lot better.
Well, I hope so. That's I haven't looked at any of the stuff we've gotten back yet, so I'm not sure who's got who coming back. But yeah, the last couple of years our teams have done fairly well. So we'll see how that goes.
Doug, before we let you go, I want you to grade the Browns halfway through the year, 5-3. A bad setback to Vegas, and they've had 2 weeks to stew over that. They got a game against Houston coming up on Sunday. Nick Chubb should be back. Baker Mayfield should be ready to practice again on Wednesday. He's been on the COVID list. A lot of guys are to be returning to the lineup. What do you give the Browns the first 8 weeks of the season, the first 8 games? How do you grade this team?
I suppose probably a B-. I think the Raiders game is the only game that they should have won that they didn't win. They're not yet to the Steelers and Ravens level yet, so I don't expect them to win those games. But they're in a position where another 5-3 puts them at 10-6, which should make the playoffs, considering especially that they're adding another playoff team. And that's what this team needs to do. They need to gradually improve. I mean, they haven't had a winning season for a while, let alone the playoffs. So they're making progress. They purposely, in the past off season, rebuilt the offensive line and did a very good job of it. And that's proven out to be the case in the first half of the season. They had a couple injuries that they've managed to work around. I think anybody at the beginning of the season, if you just said 5-3 after the first 8 games,
they just said, okay, we'll take that. And so now what sort of happened is they played really well in some games, and it was kind of a disappointment to lose to the Raiders. So that's sort of a negative there. But a B minus, I think, is what I mean. The defense still needs a lot of work, and Brown's front office knows it. But you can't do it all in one off season, and you certainly can't do it during the season. But their defense is what it is. They're gonna have to outscore people, and I think they've got the weapons to do that.
Doug, always a pleasure. Look forward to catching up with you next Tuesday.
All right, take care.
You got it. Doug Chapin, Vindicator and a Tribune Chronicle sports editor, joining me every Tuesday at this time on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. We'll take a time out, be back with more. It is a Tuesday edition of Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Youngstown. Back in a bit.
It's storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Rain will come and go tomorrow. There'll be some dry intervals.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Hi everyone, this is DJ Yoakley with Your Sports Network. We appreciate your support of YSN and welcome you to the YSN family. Our broadcast streams are brought to you live at no cost to you by sponsors that are local to this community. Without the vision and generosity of our sponsors and partners, we would not be able to bring this game to you today. So please support the great businesses and leaders that are making this game possible. And if you're a business in need of great advertising and sponsorship opportunities, feel free to head over to our site for more information on the right fit for you. We are local, we are loyal, and we are live. We are YSN.
Ah, the details. Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods is one fine ride. Perfect cornering, superb handling, sporty and stylish, power to spare, plus awesome mileage. Yeah, jaw-droppingly beautiful lines and well appointed with luxurious trim. Put more oomph in your life and start beholding the molding. Find your home's fine hardwood at BairdBrothers.com.
No matter what the weather, be prepared with a reliable, efficient Rude gas furnace or air conditioner from MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. Call your energy efficient expert MP Vivo today for a free estimate.
Here at MP Vivo, we rely on Rude, and so should you.
Welcome back to a Tuesday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. If you are in the market for a new or used car, you need to check out Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business, 330-886-0813. That's 330-886-0813. All right, I think everyone should know by now I'm a Bills fan. I mean, it's pretty obvious, don't you think? I'm going to give a grade for my team. I'm going to give my team a solid B. It's not going to be an A. It's not going to be an A minus, and it's not even going to be a B plus at this point. I'm going to give a solid B. I think defensively, this team is far from where they were in the last couple of years. It's a damn shame they don't have that top 10-ish defense that they had the last couple of years. If they did, this would probably be an 8-1 team right now, and then I would be looking at a solid A. The defense is certainly something that is needing to be resurrected. The Bills have just a +9. They have scored only 9 more points than what they have given up all year long, which and that's in 9 games. So in essence, the Bills are averaging, they're winning on an average of 1 point. Which, again, if you win by 1, if you win by 101, a win is a win is a win. And they are 7-2, and they are in first place in the AFC East. But the defense is certainly a problem. The two teams that Buffalo has lost to, 8-1 Kansas City, 6-2 Tennessee. That loss to Tennessee is going to come back to bite them. Unless Tennessee stumbles along the way, that loss is going to come back to bite them. Otherwise, they may very well be the 4 seed in all of this. Right now, I like the direction Josh Allen is going in. I like the direction the offense is going in, but I'm going to give a B because the defense for me is holding this team back a little bit. But solid season to this point. And I did not see the Seattle victory coming, but the Bills were able to get the job done. That's a beautiful thing. If you're a Steelers fan, again, this is a team, and breaking news from this morning, Roethlisberger is on the COVID list, which means that he is unable to do anything for the next 5 days. So you include today as day 1. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That means that Roethlisberger is ready to go on Sunday. Now, could he quarterback on Sunday against Cincinnati? Yeah, I think so. Look, Cincinnati's not garbage. I mean, they're 2-5-1. They've played some pretty solid football. I don't know if after 5 days off, I don't know if you put Roethlisberger in the game from the get-go. Could you put Mason Rudolph in this game? I mean, Mason is going to get about 80% of the snaps this week with Ben being quarantined. That would mean that Roethlisberger is quarantined. That means that Mason Rudolph gets most of the snaps with the first team. Do you play him? Do you start him in the game and see what happens? I don't know. I mean, look, here's the thing with Pittsburgh. They've won ugly. But again, a win is a win is a win. Those that say, oh my God, look what they did against Dallas. And by rights, they probably should have been beaten by Dallas, but they found a way to get the job done. And here's what people need to know about this. The Steelers have won by 7 or fewer points in 5 of their 8 games. Now, you could look at that and say, oh, man, that's not really all that good. I look at it and say, wait a second. This tells me that this team is ready to go. This team is going to be tested in terms of winning the close games. They're battle tested already. I mean, if they've gone of their 8 wins, 5 of those wins are by 7 or fewer points, that means they're battle tested. Now, I don't know if they're going to go 8-0 again. Probably not. I mean, well, let's be honest. They do have some tough games in the second half of their schedule. They do have to go to Orchard Park in December to play my Bills, so we'll see what happens there. I think the Steelers right now, I'm more than happy with giving them an A. I think they should be given an A. And one could say an A+. I mean, they're undefeated, for God's sake. Okay, have they looked pretty in all of their games? No, but again, they're winning the close games. And I think that is going to prove to be something very, very good for this team. Now, do they hang on and win a home field advantage throughout and get the bye and have the number 1 seed? That remains to be seen. Right now, I'd give the Steelers a solid A, if not an A+. They're having an unbelievable year. Browns are 5-3, and For a 5-3 team, they're negative 31 in terms of points scored and points given up. They're giving up 31 more points than they are scoring. That means that the Browns defensively, they're giving up way, way, way too many points, close to 30 points a game defensively. And Doug was, hit the nail on the head. Cleveland's going to have to outscore everybody in order to win some ball games because the back seven defensively for the Browns is not very good. I would give this team, I agree with Doug, I give this team a B-. The fact they're 5-3, fantastic record to this point, and the fact that they're getting there, that's a big thing as well. They're getting there. I'd give the Browns a B-. All right, let's get to the phone lines. You're on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. What's going on?
How you doing, my brother?
I'm good. Emmanuel, yourself?
Well, I'm sitting there listening to you, and I think you're giving the Steelers a higher grade than they deserve, and I'm okay with Ben being on the COVID list because one thing we didn't think about when we were talking about getting rid of preseason games, and when they say, well, we know the starters aren't going to play, but one thing we find out just who can play and who can't play. So without the preseason and going straight into the season, right? The backup quarterbacks and those backup guys, they haven't seen live fire yet. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I mean, look, Mason Rudolph has seen live fire. I mean, from last year.
Can I finish?
Go ahead.
The difference between last year and this year is deja vu all over again. We have Josh Dobbs back on the roster, so we're going to see how far Josh is advanced, and we know he does know the offense, and we're going to get a chance to see just what he's bringing to the table. Now he might be like he was last time, trade bait, a late round draft choice, but I've always been satisfied with Dobbs as a backup quarterback, and me and you have had conversations about that, and I just still think he's a better quarterback than Mason. That's just my personal opinion. But and as far as ranking the Steelers, I have the best I can give them is a B-, for the simple reason is this, and I'm going to say it. I look at the holes that the offensive line is opening up. I love Connors and those guys. I love those guys. But when they pick up 12 yards, I'm telling you, Kareem Hunt would have took it to the house. Chubb would have took it to the house. We don't have a breakaway running back, and we don't have a running game. And it's going to be awful hard to go deep in the playoffs without a running game. And our specialty team, dude, did you watch? We couldn't even kick at the end of the game. We couldn't even kick a field goal. I thought it was illegal to jump over top of the center, but evidently he wasn't breaking the law. But every kick we kicked either got blocked or almost got blocked. We need to work on that. What do you think about that?
Well, look, Tomlin might have very well shot himself in the foot by not allowing Boswell to try to kick the ball. I mean, he and you're right because. Tomlin essentially sent a message by saying, "Well, I'm not gonna try this field goal. I'm just gonna flat out go for it here." He didn't have much confidence in his kicker, but that almost came back to bite him.
Wait, Ron. Wait, real quick. It wasn't not just he didn't have confidence in his kicker, right? If we make it, he had no confidence in the kick. The kickoff coverage team. And now listen, that throwback, right? That Tennessee throwback. Okay, they got one on us. But they still broke a couple long ones. Just we pooch kick it, and the guy almost goes the distance. If they don't block Rodney Dangerfield from the back, that's a touchdown. So you had the best thing going that day was our defense. So when you pull at the point where you can't trust your place kicking team and you can't trust your kickoff coverage team. You can't give that team an 8 if you put they can't run the ball. What do you think?
Look, at the end of the day, you're telling me that your place kicker can't kick the ball in the end zone like every other kicker in the National Football League does? I mean, he
Well,
can.
He doesn't do it consistently. I mean, but the bottom line is this. The bottom line is this. We are a work in progress. I will never, ever, 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 ever apologize for being undefeated. That's not going to happen. I'm not going to apologize for winning a game because, you know me, I'll point to the scoreboard. But there is a lot of work that needs to be done with that because when we played Baltimore again, Baltimore had a good chance of beating us. I'm telling you.
No, they did.
Tennessee had a good chance of beating us.
No, they had no chance. They had no chance.
Well, the field goal.
I mean, you guys were up so big early on that Tennessee wasn't gonna come back and win that game. You jumped on them early, and they just. I mean, that field goal game was more like a 10-point win, but they scored late.
I don't like, and I'm a Steelers fan, but I'm being honest with you. I don't like our red zone. We really don't have, we throw an interception in the red zone. We're kicking too many field goals when we kick them. It is just that I think that we're lucky, because you can even look at Cincinnati and you can look at Cleveland. Nobody in our division has lost a game to the NFC East. Now, if we were playing the doggone AFC West or the NFC Central, I know you play the guys on your schedule. I don't think we'll be that way. We've been lucky because we've had a pretty easy schedule. Let's call it like we see it, right?
Well, look, I mean, you're averaging almost 30 points a game. I mean, your offense is clearly doing something right. You're averaging almost 30 points a game, Emmanuel.
Yeah, well, it's not hard to put up points up against the Cowboys, Philadelphia, and the New York Giants.
I get that. Listen, I understand that, but that's just 3 games. I mean, the other 5 games, you have had to play. Denver's not all that great, but you have had to play some pretty decent teams. I mean, I'm not saying that you've faced murderers row because you haven't, and you're 8-0 for a reason. Now, the remaining 8 games on the schedule: home to Cincinnati, that could be a win. At Jacksonville, should be a win. Ravens.
Wait a minute, hold it. Wait a minute. Now, Jacksonville has our number. They've been beating us whether they've been good or not.
I get it.
They beat us twice. Okay, go ahead.
I get it.
Go ahead.
Baltimore at home will be a test. Washington at home probably shouldn't be a test. At Buffalo, that'll be a test. At Cincinnati, who knows? Indianapolis at home. And then you finish out the season at Cleveland. So it's, the second half schedule is a little better, but I don't think you're going to finish 16-0, but I certainly think that 14-2, 13-3 is not out of the realm of possibility.
Well, okay, at 13-3, where does that put us at? Do you see Buffalo losing more than 3 games or 3 games? You see that?
Oh yeah. They're gonna be 12-4, 11-5, somewhere in that vicinity. Maybe even 10-6. I hope it's not 10-6.
Well, what about Kansas City?
Well, I mean, there's the other fly in the ointment. They got 1 loss right now, and you look at the rest of their schedule. They've got Tampa Bay at Tampa Bay. Who knows what happens there? But they got to play the Raiders first in Vegas. Then they got to go to Tampa Bay. They got Denver at home. They go to Miami. They go to New Orleans. They're home to Atlanta. They're home to the Chargers. So there's a couple of losses in there for Kansas City, or there could be.
What does Baltimore look like going out? Who they have?
Hang on a second. Let me.
Because Baltimore has 1 loss?
Baltimore's got 2 losses.
2 losses, okay.
Yeah, Baltimore's got 2 losses. They got the Patriots in Foxborough this Sunday. They got the Titans in Baltimore, at Pittsburgh, Dallas at home, at Cleveland, Jacksonville at home, the Giants at home, and at Cincinnati.
Well, I tell you one thing. There's going to be an unbelievable race, and how's this? I know you're not the stats guy, Champ's the stats guy, but how do the playoffs go? The top 2 teams get a bye, top 3 teams?
No, only one. Only one will get a bye.
Okay.
Yeah, if
7 teams are going, right?
Yeah, if it's a 7-team playoff, the number 1 seed gets a bye. The 2 seed plays the 7 seed. The 3 seed plays the 6. The 4 plays the 5.
Okay, and do they reseed again after that when they go by best records, or are they just going to go with the bracket?
No, they would the 1 seed would play the lowest remaining team left. So let's say the 4 divisional winners. Let's say the Steelers get the number 1 seed, If it were to stand right now, the Steelers would be the 1, Kansas City would be the 2, Buffalo would be the 3, Tennessee would be the 4. Then you go to the wild card teams. Baltimore is the 5, Vegas is the 6. I believe Miami is the 7, and Indianapolis is the 8. So then you would have you'd have the Steelers off. So let's say that Indianapolis as the 7 seed, they go into Kansas City and they upset Kansas City. That would be Pittsburgh's next opponent. Would be the lowest seeded team remaining.
Well, so that really doesn't sound good, because as we stand right now, the Browns are in 9th or 10th place as far as the playoff goes?
Well, they would be, I want to say they would be in 8th right now. So, I mean, obviously the Browns have some work to do. They have to get some victories and go from there. Now, the good thing with the Browns, their second half of the schedule looks a little more encouraging. They'll open up this week against Houston at home, Philadelphia at home, at Jacksonville, at Tennessee, Baltimore at home, at the New York Giants, at the New York Jets, Pittsburgh at home.
That last game could be to get into the playoffs or not the playoffs, just like last year.
It could be. It could very well be. We'll see.
Can I ask you one more quick question?
Yeah, go ahead.
You said better than me, but what in the Sam Hill happened to Tampa Bay against New Orleans? What happened?
Look, New Orleans is a really good football team, and they just jumped Tampa Bay and they took it to them. And I know a lot of people believe that Tom Brady is still a really good quarterback. You might want to check his numbers against the rest of the NFL, because he's in the back half of all of the pertinent statistics. There's no two ways about it. He's old, and Father Time has caught up to him. And I still think that Tampa will be okay in terms of a playoff, much to my chagrin. But honestly, I don't think Tampa's all that great. And everyone can sit back and say last year when Brady was with New England, well, he didn't have the receivers. Okay, he had a bad second half of the year because of the receivers. He's got a stacked group of receivers this year, and he is not putting up good numbers.
And a decent running back.
And a decent running back. He's just not putting up good numbers. And Father Time is finally catching up to Tom Brady. And it's just, if this was Tom Brady 6 years ago, 5 years ago, even 2 years ago, they don't get demolished like they get against New Orleans. But this is an old Tom Brady who is nothing more than a below-average, mediocre quarterback in the National Football League right now. And that's tough for people that think that he's, well, you're talking about the all-time great or one of the greatest. Yeah, I am. Much like in 1973-ish, when Unitas' career was done with Baltimore, and he went to San Diego for that 1 year. He was awful.
Yeah.
He was awful.
Yeah.
It just, he wasn't as bad as, he wasn't as good as Brady is right now, mainly because it was a run, oh, by the way, throw the ball every once in a while type of league. But he was awful. He was a below-average quarterback his last year in San Diego. Unfortunately, it happens. When you get old, it happens. I mean, look, in any sport. I mean, I'll go to the 73 World Series when Willie Mays was playing for the New York Mets. Willie Mays embarrassed himself in that
thing I ever seen
in the 73 series. He embarrassed himself. He wasn't Willie Mays, arguably the greatest everyday player in the history of the game. He was nowhere near that. Look in boxing. Muhammad Ali was kicking everyone's ass, and then for whatever reason, he decided that when Larry Holmes was in the middle of his heyday, having a great time sticking people with the right jab, that Ali sat back and said, "Oh, I can kick this guy's butt." He looked awful. Father Time, it was pitiful. And then fast forward to Larry Holmes, who probably should have learned a lesson from Ali He turns around and during Tyson's heyday says, I can beat this guy. And Tyson dropped him like he was bad news. I mean, it was horrible.
That was sad.
It's very tough to watch a guy that is considered to be one of the greats in a sport. It is very tough to watch that person become ordinary. And that's exactly what Tom Brady now is. He's ordinary. He's not special. He's an ordinary quarterback now. And the numbers prove it. And you can't make the excuse anymore, well, he doesn't have he doesn't have good receivers. He's got some of the best receivers on that team. He's ordinary now. Father Time has beat him down, just like Father Time beats everyone down. When Michael Jordan was playing in Washington, he was ordinary.
He was below ordinary. He was terrible.
And it was tough to see. It was very tough to see. Now, every once in a while, you'll see, a 35, 40-point performance, and you see glimpses of it. But by and large, no. I mean, Michael, when he went to Washington, he was finished. He was cooked. But he wanted to play. Oh, okay, great. I mean, it was kind of like seeing Willie Mays finish out his career with the New York Mets. I mean, he was cooked after 71.
For those old guys, Joe Louis against a young, tough, raging, with that dog of Marciano, that's sad to watch too.
Absolutely, it was. Absolutely, it was. I mean, and Joe Louis in his prime.
Marciano cried after that.
Yeah, Joe Louis in his prime would have beat the living hell out of Rocky Marciano. He would have killed him.
I ain't gonna say all that.
I will. I will. Okay. He would have beat the living hell out of Rocky Marciano in his prime, but he wasn't. He was an old man, and Marciano knocked the crap out of him because Joe Louis was 175 years old. if I can steal a line from Coming to America.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that, right? Because for a minute there, I thought you was going to be Debbie Downer, but Coming to America was a great movie.
Oh God, yeah. And I'm so glad this movie is coming back in the next year or so. They got everyone coming back, including John Amos, who played Mr. McDowell. John Amos is one of my favorite actors, versatile as hell. He's just
for people that don't know, he played the father in Good Times.
Yes, he did.
JJ's father. Now go ahead.
Yeah, James Evans Sr. in Good Times, and to have James Earl Jones back to play the king. I mean, James Earl Jones, if I can steal a line, got to be 175 years old right now.
With that deep voice.
And well, he's got a voice that there's a handful of people that I would love to have as a eulogy when I'm dead. James Earl Jones would be one of them. He's Morgan Freeman is another guy. I would pay to listen to him read the Yellow Pages. He's got one of those voices.
Let me ask you a question now. We know that there were some issues, like according to rules, where Ursuline had a whole bunch of players out, right?
Yeah.
And it seems to me that South Range, they how can I put it? It took them to the second quarter to start playing. I think if they started over again, it'd have been a different game because I think Kirtland is beatable this year. But now going forward to, I'm looking at JFK. And I'm looking at Springfield, and then like I tell people, about Notre Dame, Springfield, sometimes you have to show people who you are, and Springfield is showing people who they are because they knew when they called that play, they knew it was going to work because they've been there, done that. All the linemen had to stay, couldn't go downfield. Everybody had to do their job, but to them that was nothing new. I think they got a good shot.
I do. I think they have an excellent chance now, and I talked a little bit about this. As you know, there is a conference in Western Ohio that is just an unbelievably successful conference in all kinds of sports, not just football.
Except soccer. Well, they don't play soccer.
Yeah, they don't. But boys soccer. But they play girls soccer, and they're very successful in that too.
Yeah.
Kennedy, if they beat Newark Catholic, there is a very good chance they could be facing New Bremen. This is the New Bremen team. Early in the year, they lost to Maria Stein Marion Local. First game of the year, and then they turned around and beat them in a regional championship game. Springfield could very well play another team in this conference in Coldwater. I would absolutely love to see the two best teams in our area go up against, for 2020, the two best football programs in arguably the greatest high school conference, small school conference in Ohio right now. I would love to see Kennedy and Springfield go up against New Bremen and Coldwater. And I'd like to see what our area can do against what a lot of people in the state of Ohio believe is the best conference for small school football, D5 and down, in the state of Ohio. And I think that it would be a tremendous feather in the cap of this area if Kennedy, Springfield, or both were able to win a state championship and beat one or both of these teams in that prestigious league to win the state title. I think it would be tremendous for this area.
That'd be outstanding. One more last thing. I know I keep saying this. This is the last thing. Father Time has caught up with me, my brother. Guess what, man? I just bought a doggone air fryer. Can you believe that?
And there's nothing wrong with that. It's when I saw that thing the first time, I was like, all right, what is it going to do? I mean, because I love onion rings and I love French fries. And those are two things that, I probably shouldn't have because, I'm trying to lose weight and I'm trying
to. But they're not fried, though.
Exactly. That's why I got the air fryer. So I was like, all right, am I going to be sacrificing any taste for this? And I got to tell you, you're not sacrificing any taste at all. The air fryers are pretty damn good. And I have not noticed a profound difference in the taste of the food. I really haven't.
Well, I got to figure out a way to tell my industrialized double basket deep fat fryer that you're no longer wanted. So, you have a nice day, my brother. I'll talk to you later.
Hey, that's a tough conversation that you're going to have, man. I'm just telling you.
Okay, my brother. I'll talk to you later.
Man. All right, 330-886-0813. That's the deep fryer. That's I'm telling you, man. That's good stuff. But the air fryer is not bad. It really isn't. It's not bad. I was with Emmanuel with that. I was like, originally, oh God, am I going to be sacrificing taste when I put this stuff in here? You don't. It's actually really good. It's actually really good. Not that I should be eating fries and onion rings, but now you can make the argument. Well, it's air fried. You're not putting it in the oil and the grease and all that other stuff and deep frying it. You're air frying it. So there should be a healthier choice there. I mean, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions, reminding you that it is open enrollment for Medicare.
Now through December 7th, those who qualify can visit our local independent agency by calling us at 330-953-3722 or visiting us at wrsinsurancesolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Attention all football fans. If you can't see your team play, come and dine with us and watch it live at Boardman, Canfield, or Cortland. Or staying at home, we'll deliver right to your door. That's Coca's Pizza. We serve it hot.
2020 will be a season like we've never seen before, but 21 Sports and YSN will be there for every key moment. The plays, the players, and the stories that will headline this season. Delivered by 21 Sports and YSN.
Planning a project around your home or rental property? Trust the electrical service to the local experts with 62 years of serving the Mahoning Valley. Joe Dickey Electric is your local go-to source for responsive, reliable residential electrical work. From everyday maintenance and repairs to new installations, electrical upgrades, and safety inspections, no job is too big or too small. Call Joe Dickey Electric today, 800-549-3976, or visit DickeyElectric.com. That's DickeyElectric.com.
Myers Family Insurance knows the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is here, so it's all hands on deck to make sure your plans still meet your needs for 2020.
Call us today.
may find yourself in some difficulty this winter. Don't get whacked by high heating bills. Call Michael at MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. Michael is a trusted friend who will be able to help you with many things, like getting a 95% high-efficiency furnace this winter from Rude. Michael relies on Rude, so should you. Call MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning for a free estimate, 330-259-0486, and take care of your heating and air situation.
I went to Greenwood Chevrolet because I was really interested in looking at the tracks.
Because I wanted my dream truck.
Because I've been going there for 20 years.
I'm really happy that I went
to Greenwood Chevrolet.
Because they really went
the extra mile for me.
Now we're going the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Baird Brothers remains your source for fine hardwood products. For the time being, we're open for customer pickup only on weekdays, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. and Saturday from 9 a.m. till noon. Place your order online at bairdbrothers.com. Baird Brothers, for the place you love.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
The 4M Company, being an architect and construction manager for over 40 years, has had the opportunity to use many different electrical businesses for our projects. The depth, quality, and knowledge and attention to detail displayed by Dickey Electric makes them stand out above all the rest.
For state-of-the-art expertise and a timeless commitment to our customers, contact Joe Dickey Electric. We are everything electrical.
Armstrong Local Programming has always delivered an exclusive and unique perspective on the very best events your region offers. High school sports, community events, parades, all your favorite shows from Armstrong are now calling the Neighborhood Channel their home.
Watch Out and About, Locally Speaking, and many other great local shows right here on the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel.
Find out everything that the Neighborhood Channel has to offer at ArmstrongNeighborhood.com. Spirit, town pride, local communities. Welcome to the neighborhood.
Right now is a great time to get more for your trade-in at Tri-State Ford and drive home in a new or pre-owned vehicle. Choose from our great selection of new Ford models or pre-owned vehicles. Plus, get the Tri-State Ford Advantage, including a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty and more. At Tri-State Ford, we'll pay you top dollar for your trade, but you don't have to purchase one of ours to sell us yours.
Customer focus, community driven. Tri-State Ford East Liverpool or visit tristateford.net.
Welcome back to a Tuesday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business, 330-886-0813. That's 330-886-0813. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business. With you till 3 o'clock, at which time we will turn it over to Power Hour, as DJ and the boys will have a good old time with the Power Hour from 3 to 4 this afternoon. Again, the high school football schedule is out for this weekend, not so much for next weekend. State championship in Division I Friday night at Fortress Obetz, which is just outside of Columbus, a little south, a little east of Columbus. That game is going to be played Friday night at 7 o'clock as D1 is 1 week ahead of D2 through D7. In the D1 district, or in the D1 state championship game, Cincinnati St. Xavier 11-0 will be playing Pickerington Central. Pickerington Central of the Columbus area at 9-2. So it's going to be an all Southern Ohio state championship format. Columbus is kind of like on the middle part of the state, but Pickerington in the Columbus area taking on Cincinnati St. Xavier from the Cincinnati area. Pickerington knocked off Menor last week in the state semifinals. That game Friday night at the Fortress Obetz just outside of Columbus. Pickerington pretty much in their backyard. State semifinals, Division II. Division II looks like this. Avon will be playing Akron-Hoban from Parma High School. And Massillon will be playing the defending Division II state champ Cincinnati LaSalle. That game will be played at Marysville. And Marysville is known for the very large Honda plant that they have in Marysville. That is the Division II state semifinals. Division III, Columbus DeSales will be playing Kettering Alter. That game is going to be played at London, not England, London, Ohio. The other semifinal game, Tiffin Columbian will be playing Chardon. Chardon defeated Canfield last week. They'll play that game at Brunswick. And in Division 7, Warren JFK will be playing Newark Catholic. And it is amazing to me all the success that JFK and Newark Catholic has had from the time the state playoffs opened in 1972 to today. About 49 years worth of state playoff seasons. And in all the years that Kennedy and Newark Catholic have been really, really good football teams, they've never played. Not once in the school's history. Kennedy has never played Newark Catholic. That's amazing. These two teams will play each other for the first time at Massillon High School on Friday night. Keep in mind, YSN will be there. We'll be broadcasting the game Friday night from Paul Brown Tiger Stadium in Massillon. The game starts at 7 o'clock. Again, this will not be a video game. It's going to be all audio. And the reason for that is because Spectrum, the official television home of the OHSAA, is now going to be broadcasting and televising all of the games from here on out. So unfortunately, because they are the television home of the OHSAA, everyone who is in the TV or video and audio business of high school football, you can no longer televise a game, whether it be online or over regular television airwaves. You are not allowed to broadcast a game that way because Spectrum has the rights. They paid an awful lot of money apparently to get the rights to the OHSAA playoffs, and because of that, they're the official home of the television perspective, and any game that is put over the air on the internet, you cannot quote televise, even though it's not television. You cannot put a game video-wise over the air. So the only thing that we can do is audio, and that's exactly what we'll do. Kennedy playing Newark Catholic for Massillon High School. That is a 7 o'clock start. D7 state semifinals. Warren JFK and Newark Catholic. The winner of that game will play next weekend against the winner of the Lima Central Catholic New Bremen contest. And we made mention New Bremen got to the state semifinals by knocking off the heavy favorites to a lot of people in the state of Ohio. Maria Stein Marion Local was the heavy favorite to win a state championship. They got beat by New Bremen New Bremen got a little revenge after losing to them in week number 1 of their schedule. So New Bremen is in the state semifinals, and this is a wide open state semifinal. It truly is. And all 4 of these teams have tasted defeat. Kennedy has lost twice. Newark Catholic has lost 3 times. Lima Central Catholic has lost once. New Bremen has lost twice. So all 4 teams do have a loss on their schedule, which if you take a look at Division 6, where Springfield is playing Saturday night, all 4 teams in Division 6 are undefeated. Beverly Fort Fry will be playing Springfield from Zanesville High School. Both teams are 10-0. The winner of that game gets the winner of Coldwater and Columbus Grove. Both teams are 10-0. So next weekend, and we're hoping that Springfield gets the victory. Next weekend, if the Tigers beat Beverly Fort Fry, they will be playing an undefeated team for a state championship. Division 6 and Division 5 are the only 2 divisions in which an undefeated team is in the entire semifinal field. Division 2, you have Avon and Hoban are both undefeated. Well, Massillon has a loss. LaSalle has 2 losses. In Division 3, the only undefeated team is Chardon. In Division 4, Carroll Bloom Carroll is undefeated. So is Cincinnati, Wyoming. Mentor Lake Catholic has 2 losses. Van Wert has a loss. Division 7, everybody has at least a loss. Division 5, Kirtland's undefeated. Tontogany Otsego is undefeated. They play each other Saturday night at Parma High School. Cincinnati, St. Bernard, Roger Bacon, and Ironton are both undefeated. D5 and D6 are the only divisions where every single team in the semifinals, all 8 teams, 4 in each division, they're all unbeaten. That's pretty impressive. Very impressive, actually. So Springfield, they get to play Beverly Fort Fry on Saturday night from Zanesville High School. And again, easiest way to get to Zanesville is to go down I-77 and a little south of Cambridge, you'll run into 70. 77 goes north and south. 70 goes east and west. And they intersect just south of Cambridge. And you would then go 70 and head west about 10 miles, maybe 15. But somewhere around 10 miles, you'll run into Zanesville. It's about a 2-hour and change drive from the Mahoning Valley to Zanesville High School. And Springfield will be playing on Saturday night against Beverly Fort Fry. The winner of that game gets the winner of the Coldwater Columbus Grove game on Saturday night in Sydney. And next weekend, you'll have the state finals. You're going to have 2 games, and I kind of read this wrong, and I do apologize. You're going to have 2 games played on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And right now, the schedule is up in the air. Division 2, Division 3, or Division 7 will be playing on Friday afternoon and Friday nights. The 2 games scheduled Friday afternoon at 2 o'clock, Friday night at 7 o'clock. Saturday would be a 2 o'clock and 7 o'clock game. And then there's 2 games on Sunday as well, 2 o'clock and 7 o'clock. Again, you've heard my opinion. I'm not a fan of a high school event going on on Sunday. But I also understand, and in our conversation with Doug Chapin, he brought up some valid points. In our conversation, look, that line that seemed to be an uncrossable line back in the day has been crossed many, many times, I might add. So it's certainly not the first time that we've seen a high school event take place on Sunday, whether it be travel ball, whether it be a scholastic event. We have seen games played on a Sunday. I'm not a fan of it, but Clearly, the OHSAA wants to play Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 2 games each. Now, in recent memory, and again, probably because the Pro Football Hall of Fame did not want to have any games on a Sunday because, well, interestingly enough, Sunday is the most popular day for visitors to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, which is right where Tom Benson Stadium is. And obviously, if you're playing a game on Sunday, that parking lot for the Hall of Fame people to go into the Hall of Fame, that parking lot could get hijacked to where you have very little parking. So that's the reason why the Hall of Fame said, hey, if you're going to play the games in Canton at Tom Benson Memorial Stadium, you can split the games Friday and Saturday because we don't want to do the games on Sunday. And when they had seven divisions, you played 2 games on Thursday, 2 or 3 games on Friday, 2 games on Saturday, and there you go. Look, I have no problem if they were to do Friday and Saturday, 10 a.m., 2 p.m., 7 p.m. You have no problems with that. But again, they wanted to play games on Sunday. Okay, I'm not good with it. But then again, if you're in a state championship game, and it wouldn't go for Kennedy. Division 7 will not be played on a Sunday. The 3 divisions that would be vying for 2 Sunday games: Division 4, Division 5, or Division 6. And the 2 divisions that are vying for playing time on a Friday is Division 2, Division 3, and Division 7. Now, my guess is, and again, it's going to depend upon the matchup. I suppose it would depend upon how good the possible matchup could be. But let's say that in Division 5, we have a rematch of a state championship game between Ironton and Kirtland. If there's a rematch of a state championship game between Ironton and Kirtland, there's a pretty good chance that game is Sunday night at 7:00 because they want the best the best game. Historically, they're going to want to put it on in prime time, whether it be Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. The best matchup would probably be the game that you want to see at 7:00. Let's say Hoban plays Massillon for a state championship in Division 2. I could see Friday night or Saturday night at 7:00. Hey, let's say that Springfield plays Coldwater in the D6 state championship game. 2 undefeated teams. Could you see that being a Saturday night game and you have Hoban play Massillon on a Friday night? That's not out of the realm of possibility. That's not out of the realm of possibility. I mean, 2, 3, or 7 is playing on Friday. Hoban and Massillon playing on a Friday night, which they're playing on Friday anyway in the state semifinals. You might as well keep them, on the same schedule. Play them on a Friday night. Okay. A Saturday night, you have Springfield taking on Coldwater. That's a primetime game, kids. That's not a game that I would want to put on at 2:00 in the afternoon. Hell no. Springfield and Coldwater, that would be that would be a lot of fun to watch. Put that on a Saturday night, I can see it. Yeah, absolutely, I can see that. Division 7, let's say Kennedy and New Bremen. Honestly, Kennedy and New Bremen would probably fit best on a Friday afternoon or a Saturday afternoon. Because I mean, look, again, Division 2, Division 3, and Division 7. Division 3, you could be looking at Chardon playing DeSales. That could be a primetime matchup. Kennedy and New Bremen could be a primetime. I mean, it just depends on the matchups, how interesting and how much are people going to salivate at that matchup. And those that are really, really good will wind up being played at 7 o'clock. And those that are good, but not really, really good, will probably wind up being played at 2 o'clock. There's nothing wrong with that. Hell, if you're in the state championship game and they tell you to play at 4 in the morning in a phone booth, you'll play at 4 in the morning in a phone booth because it's a state championship game. Absolutely. Kennedy and Newark Catholic Friday night at Massillon. Springfield taking on Beverly Fort Fry on Saturday night in Zanesville. We got a really good chance, kids. We got a really, really good chance at two teams going to the state championship. And I would absolutely love to see our two programs, our two representatives in the Mahoning Valley go up against the two representatives in the Midwest Athletic Conference, because I want to see what our two teams can do against what is perceived to be the best conference in Ohio in small school. I'd love to see it, and I think that Kennedy can more than hold their own against any of these three teams left: Newark Catholic, Lima Central Catholic, or New Bremen. New Bremen, interesting in that they defeated Maria Stein Marion local, and anytime you do that, you have my attention. There's no two ways about that. That's all four of these teams are solid. Otherwise, they wouldn't be in the state semifinals. Every team that's in the state semifinals is solid. And Doug brought up a really good point when we had him on at 1 o'clock. So many people are hell-bent on just determining the champions, and that's it. And I think in high school sports, you have to understand just how difficult it really is to get to a state semifinal in any sport. It is extremely, extremely difficult to get to a state semifinal in any sport. It is. Now, for our area, and Anthony was here yesterday and we brought this up, this is the 6th consecutive year that the Mahoning Valley has at least one team in the state semifinals. That's pretty good. That's because earlier in the 2010 decade, 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, we didn't get as many representatives in the state semifinals. I believe we were shut out for a couple of years there in terms of getting teams into the state semifinals. Since 2015, we have had at least one team in the Mahoning Valley go to the state semifinals. That is now 6 consecutive years. Now, to cement the point home a little further, last year we had a team playing for a state championship in Springfield. 2 years ago, we had a team playing for a state championship in Girard. 4 years ago, we had a team playing for a state championship and won a state championship in Warren JFK. So in 3 of the last 4 years, we have had a team in the state finals. And we have 2 chances this year to put one team in the state finals for the 4th time in the last 5 years. We're doing pretty good. We're doing pretty good. Now, obviously, we still haven't had public school win a state championship in now 21 years. And hopefully that comes to an end with Springfield winning the next couple of games and bringing home a state championship. But the point of getting to a state semifinal is extremely difficult. Football is one of our better sports in our area. Baseball, I think, is still a little bit better than football. Not by much now, but a little bit better. We've had more representation in the state semifinals and in the state championship over the last 8 or 9 years. Now, unfortunately, last year we didn't have anybody because there were no spring sports. So clearly, we didn't have anybody go to the state semifinals because there wasn't any spring sports. But when the area does have baseball, historically, we've done pretty well putting teams into the state semifinals, into the state championship game, and every once in a while we win a state championship. This year in soccer, boys soccer, we have brought 2 teams into the state semifinals. Unfortunately, and we talked with Anthony about this yesterday, volleyball has been that glass ceiling where we just haven't been able to puncture it. We've not had an opportunity to bring a team into the state semifinals in quite a long time. Girls basketball, we did have a team in the state semifinals last year in West Branch. And Coach DeShields will be chomping at the bit to get his kids back there due to what happened with COVID and how they weren't able to play their game. And it was sad, very sad. And hopefully, knock on wood, we have a COVID-free basketball season where we can have our kids play from start to finish. Now, boys basketball, it's been pretty tough. It has been pretty tough. I think the last team that went to a state semifinal in our area is LeBray. And I want to say it was done 7 or 8 years ago. And that was Peyton Aldridge, who later played at Davidson. And I believe he's playing overseas, playing pro ball overseas. Peyton Aldridge was a junior or a senior. The last time LeBray went to or the last time we had a team in boys basketball go to the Final Four. And we get about 2 or 3 teams a year going to the regional tournament. Unfortunately, the teams go to die in the regional tournament, or at least in the last 7 years. Hopefully that changes this year. But it's just the point of all of this is it is so difficult to even get a team into the state semifinals. If you fall short, and hopefully JFK and Springfield both win 2 games, but if they don't, is it really? Oh yeah, well you're just one of the teams that didn't win a championship. Really? Really? I mean, last year's team with Springfield, that was a pretty special team. 2 years ago with Mark Wade and that group and Girard losing in the state championship game, and that was a pretty special team. I'm not going to, clearly, if they would have won, okay, you're a lot more credibility, or not credibility, a lot more notoriety because you won a state championship. But to even get to the state semifinals or get to a state championship, man, that is a hell of a great accomplishment. Win, lose, or draw, if you've gotten this far in any sport, in high school sports, if you've gotten to the state semifinals in any sport in high school sports in this state of Ohio, you have done something that 99% of the schools wish they could do. And that's just the God's honest truth. Now, obviously, we root for Kennedy and Springfield to win their final 2 games and be crowned state champions, and we'd love nothing better for that. But if it doesn't happen, that doesn't mean that the season wasn't great. My God, if you get to a state semifinal in any sport in high school sports, give yourself a round of applause. You deserve it. All right, 330-886-0813. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business. It's a Tuesday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Back in a bit.
21 News.
Let's get right to our top story tonight.
More experienced reporters.
A new Wilmington restaurant.
GM Lordstown.
Telling more local stories.
We'll look at
efforts. Boy is recovering from a broken.
Around our valley.
Community in Niles. We are here in Youngstown, right up.
Because you expect.
It's important for everyone. No place like home.
More local news.
In Mercer County
Court.
Court.
They become life-threatening.
21 News is our valley's #1 local news.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
Attention football fans, order Coca's Pizza tailgate package for only $54.99. You'll receive 24 slices of our delicious cheese pizza, 20 jumbo wings, and 2 of our famous foot-long pepperoni rolls. Coca's Pizza, we serve it hot.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsurancesolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Your Armstrong services are more important than ever. There are more and more connected devices in the home these days. To get the most out of your experience, you need a network that is always getting better. You deserve superior performance, and that's what Armstrong offers every day. Whether you're working from home, enjoying your favorite content together, or simply catching up while apart, count on Armstrong to keep you connected to what matters most.
I went to Greenwood Chevrolet because I was really interested in looking at the tracks.
Because I wanted my dream truck.
Because I've been going there for 20 years. I think whenever we go there, whatever car we're looking for, they have tremendous inventory.
If you're looking for people who care about you, Greenwood is the place to go.
You know, it's like family there. The girls know me in service. It's Miss Kim in the Tahoe.
I'm really happy that I went
To Greenwood Chevrolet.
Because they really went
the extra mile for me.
Now we're going the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
For heating, cooling, and indoor air quality, the Mahoning Valley trusts MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning, offering worry-free repair, service, and installation. Call MP Vivo today for a free estimate.
MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. We're your energy-efficient experts.
Welcome back to a Tuesday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business. 330-886-0813. That's 330-886-0813. Tomorrow night, we have boys soccer. The D2 and D3 state semifinals. The Howland Tigers will be playing Lima Shawnee. That game will be played from Lexington High School, starting at 7 o'clock tomorrow night. Howland has 20 wins, no losses, and 1 draw this year. Lima Shawnee, 17 wins, 2 losses, and 1 draw. The winner of the Howland-Lima Shawnee game gets the winner of the Albany-Alexander Tip City-Tippecanoe game to be played tomorrow night at Westerville North High School. Now, Tip City-Tippecanoe is the team that defeated Howland in the state championship game last year, and Tip City-Tippecanoe is 22-0 this season. They'll be taking on 18-1-1 Albany-Alexander. Tomorrow night from Mansfield High School, Cardinal Mooney will be playing Toledo Ottawa Hills in the state semifinals. Cardinal Mooney has 15 wins, 2 losses, and 4 draws. Toledo Ottawa Hills, 15 wins, 5 losses, and 1 draw. Those two teams will play in a state semifinal game from Mansfield High School tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. The winner of that game gets the winner of the Wheelersburg-Cincinnati-Marymount game. That game is going to be played at Springfield High School tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. And check out these records. Wheelersburg and Cincinnati Marymount are both 21-0. 21 wins, 0 losses, 0 draws. Undefeated in 21 matches. 21-game winning streak for both Wheelersburg and Cincinnati Marymount. As they will be playing each other at Springfield High School on Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. The state championship games will be played at Mopfree Stadium in Columbus. That is the home of the Columbus Crew, who, by the way, happens to be in the MLS soccer tournaments. They're in New York on Saturday playing New York City at 3 o'clock. On Saturday. The state finals will be played at Mopfree Stadium, the home of the Columbus Crew. The Division III state championship game will be played at 1 o'clock, and hopefully Mooney knocks off Toledo Ottawa Hills. If they do knock off Ottawa Hills tomorrow night from Mansfield, they will play in the state championship game Saturday afternoon at 1 o'clock. Should Howland defeat Lima Shawnee tomorrow night at Lexington, that game is at 7 o'clock, Howland would be in the Division II state championship game to be played Saturday afternoon from Mopfree Stadium at 4 o'clock. And Division I, we don't have anybody in the D1 state semifinals. Ignatius is playing Medina, and New Albany is playing Cincinnati St. Xavier. That is in boys soccer. We don't have anyone in girls soccer. South Range lost to Kirtland in the D3 regional championship game. That was our last hope in the regional tournaments for soccer. And in volleyball, all of our teams exited in the regional semifinals, and clearly no teams in the Final Four. By the way, the Final Four in volleyball will be played at Butler High School. So that's what's going on. And again, hopefully one of these days we'll have a team going down to a state in volleyball. That's a glass ceiling that I don't know. I don't know if we're ever going to break that thing. Hopefully soon. But we do have 2 teams in the state semifinals in boys soccer, and we have 2 teams in the state semifinals in football. So Wednesday night, Howland takes on Lima Shawnee from Lexington. That's a 7 o'clock start. Mooney will be playing Toledo Ottawa Hills tomorrow night from Mansfield High School. That is a 7 o'clock start. Best of luck to Howland and to Cardinal Mooney, and hopefully they both win. If they do, Cardinal Mooney would play a state championship against the winner of Wheelersburg and Cincinnati Marymount. That game would be played Saturday afternoon at 1 o'clock. If Howland wins, they would play the winner of Albany Alexander and Tip City Tippecanoe. It could very well be a state championship rematch from last year, where Tippecanoe knocked off Howland in the state title game last year. If you're Howland, bring on Tip City Tippecanoe, because you want to have that opportunity to extract a little revenge and get even and win a state championship all in one fell swoop. So that's what's going on in boys soccer. And we made mention Kennedy will be playing Newark Catholic Friday night from Massillon Paul Brown Tiger Stadium. It's hard to believe these 2 teams have never played each other in football, and they're going to play each other for the first time in a state semifinal game. Kennedy and Newark Catholic from Massillon High School at Paul Brown Tiger Stadium. That game starts at 7 o'clock on Friday nights. Saturday night, Springfield will be playing in Zanesville against Beverly Fort Fry. Beverly Fort Fry is in the southeastern part of the state by the river. They've taken on 2 teams across the river in West Virginia. Beverly Fort Fry is down there, south of Steubenville. They have a little ways to go, but they don't have as long a drive. I don't believe they have as long a drive as Springfield does. But it is a neutral site. Beverly, Fort Fry, and Springfield doing battle in the state semifinals Saturday night at 7 o'clock. And again, just a reminder, because Spectrum is the official television home of the Ohio High School Athletic Association, no other entity could televise, or in the internet's case, broadcast a video portion of a high school game, because Spectrum is the television home of the OHSAA. So what we're going to do is provide the audio, which, this go back to the last couple of years up until this year, where that's exactly what YSN did. We just did audio, and we'll go back to our first couple of years in existence. We'll do audio, and Kennedy will play Newark Catholic Friday night. We'll have a team there, and then we'll have a team in Zanesville as Springfield takes on Beverly Fort Fry. For those of you that have Spectrum, and I think the Mahoning Valley is a small pockets in Mahoning and Trumbull County happen to have Spectrum, what you're going to want to do is turn the sound down when JFK and Springfield's game is being broadcast. Turn the sound down, and you simply go to ysnlive.com, sync up the audio and the video, sync it up, and now you have our broadcasters watching the game. There you go. It's probably the best way to do it, because, no offense to the Spectrum broadcasters, it's a pretty good chance they know nothing about JFK or Springfield, and you don't have that hometown touch. And Lord knows we're going to give information to everyone. Will have information on Newark Catholic as well as Beverly Fort Fry. Should be fun, and hopefully both teams will advance to the state championships, to be played at the Fortress Obetz, just a little south and a little east of Columbus. Again, 2 games on Friday, 2 games on Saturday, and 2 games on Sunday. Each contest, 2 o'clock in the afternoon and 7 o'clock in the evening, both on Friday, Saturday, as well as Sunday. So there you go. 330-886-0813, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, open for business. If you have a grade for your favorite team in the NFL, give it to me. I'd love to hear it. Emmanuel is a big Steelers fan. He's given the Steelers a B minus. Emmanuel must have been a really tough, if he were a school teacher, I wouldn't want him, because I think that those grades would be tough, man. Those grades would be tough. I got to give the Steelers an A. I mean, I would be tempted to give them an A+, but certainly I give them an A. I mean, good Lord, they're undefeated. What else can you do? And they're not giving up many points a game. They're only giving up like 20 points a game, and they're scoring damn near 30. Now, the good news with the Steelers, in 5 of the 8 games that they have played, they have won 5 of their 8 games by 7 points or less, which means come the latter part of the season and into the postseason, they're going to be tested. They're going to be battle-proof, to where, okay, we're in a close game. Well, it's not like we haven't done this one before. And I think a lot can be said with some of the other teams, because the NFL it wasn't, the beginning of the year was a lot more blowouts. Now we're starting to see a lot more defense played, and now we're starting to see a lot closer games. Which is probably the reason why I've crapped on myself the last 2 weeks trying to pick against the spread. I'm just saying. What was I? 7-7 2 weeks ago, and 6-8 this week. So 13-15 in the last 2 weeks. Horrible. I'm giving my Bills a solid B, maybe a B minus. Yeah, I mean it's closer to a B minus because the defense isn't quite there. But man, if this team had the top 10 defense that they had in 2018 and 2019, oof, this would be a tough team to beat. As it turns out, Buffalo might wind up getting the 4 seed, and that's assuming they hold off Miami, who's having a pretty nice year to this point. 5 wins, 3 losses, and the Dolphins coming off an impressive victory over Arizona. So we'll see what happens there. That's a place Buffalo is going to be visiting, a 4:00 game. Buffalo is in Arizona, a 4:00 game this week. So we'll see what happens there. The Browns, I'm willing to go B minus, and unfortunately with the Browns, you're going to have to outslug everyone. You're going to give up points. I mean, the Browns are giving up close to 30 points a game. If they're going to win, they're going to have to win by scoring a ton of points. And here's the thing. When the Browns score the ton of points, more often than not, they win. I mean, look at the schedule in the first 8 games that they have played this year. 35 points, they beat the Bengals. 34 against the Redskins, they won. 49 against the Cowboys, they won. 32 against Indianapolis, they won. 37 against the Bengals, they won. So if you're scoring 30 or more points, the Browns are 5-0. Check out the 3 games in which the Browns have lost. They scored just 6 points in the first weekend of the season, losing to the Ravens 38-6. They scored 7 points against the Steelers in Pittsburgh on October the 18th and lost that game 38-7. And then 2 Sundays ago, well, the 1st of November, I beg your pardon. They were off this past Sunday. So almost 2 weeks ago, it's closer to 9 days. 9 days ago, they scored 6 points and lost to the Raiders 16-6. And Mother Nature had a lot to do with that, but you get the point. When the Browns score, they win games. When they don't score, well, the going gets a little tough. Now, you look at the rest of the schedule. Home to the Texans should be a win. We'll see. Home to the Eagles should be a win. We'll see. On the road in Jacksonville should be a win. On the road in Nashville, that's going to be tough. Home to Baltimore, that's going to be tough. They go to the Meadowlands back-to-back Sundays, taking on the Giants on the 20th, the Jets, Jets on the 27th. That should be 2 more wins. And they close out the season January the 3rd at home against Pittsburgh, and that'll be tough. So let's say the Browns do go 5-3. I mean, based on the schedule, they should. I mean, based on the schedule, they should. They might go 4-4. I mean, the Texans game, the Eagles game, 2 very winnable games. The Jaguars game, very winnable game. I mean, the 3 games that are going to be tough: at Tennessee, home to Baltimore, home to Pittsburgh. Those will be tough games. And let's say they go 5-3. That's 10-6. They should be a playoff team at 10-6. 9-7. Now you're getting into the, okay, we may not get into the postseason. 10-6 should get the Browns a playoff berth. If you're 10-6, you should be one of the 7 best teams in the conference. You should be. And the Browns, I'm looking at this schedule, 5-3 is not out of the realm of possibility for this team. It's not out of the realm of possibility. Even with their bad defense, they should be able to go 5-3 the second half of the season. A 10-win season is, I think the Browns will probably be a playoff team. Now, they'll probably be the 6 or 7 seed, but the fact that they go to the playoffs, that would be a victory in a lot of people's minds, that would be a victory. Given the fact, well, first of all, the Browns haven't had a winning season since 2007? If they get a playoff season, then I think that it would be a success. Get a winning season with the playoffs, and I think that ultimately that's a successful year for the Browns. They probably are one and done in the postseason, but that's okay. Rome wasn't built in a day, and clearly this team has had trouble building a successful program. And if they can get a 10-6 record, and scheduling-wise, as long as the team's healthy and they don't have any more catastrophic injuries, I think they're in pretty good shape for a 10-win season. They could be a playoff team. We'll see. All right, we'll take a final timeout. Be back with more. It is a Tuesday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown.
Storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Rain will come and go tomorrow. There'll be some dry intervals.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Hi everyone, this is DJ Yoakley with Your Sports Network. We appreciate your support of YSN and welcome you to the YSN family. Our broadcast streams are brought to you live at no cost to you by sponsors that are local to this community. Without the vision and generosity of our sponsors and partners, we would not be able to bring this game to you today. So please support the great businesses and leaders that are making this game possible. And if you're a business in need of great advertising and sponsorship opportunities, feel free to head over to our site for more information on the right fit for you. We are local, we are loyal, and we are live. We are YSN.
Ah, the details. Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods is one fine ride. Perfect cornering, superb handling, sporty and stylish, power to spare, plus awesome mileage. Yeah, jaw-droppingly beautiful lines and well appointed with luxurious trim. Put more oomph in your life and start beholding the molding. Find your home's fine hardwood at BairdBrothers.com.
No matter what the weather, be prepared with a reliable, efficient Rude gas furnace or air conditioner from MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. Call your energy-efficient expert, MP Vivo, today for a free estimate.
Here at MP Vivo, we rely on Rude, and so should you.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions, reminding you that it is open enrollment for Medicare.
Now through December 7th, those who qualify can visit our local independent agency by calling us at 330-953-3722 or visiting us at wrsinsurancesolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Attention all football fans. If you can't see your team play, come and dine with us and watch it live at Boardman, Canfield, or Cortland. Or staying at home, we'll deliver right to your door. That's Coca's Pizza. We serve it hot.
2020 will be a season like we've never seen before, but 21 Sports and YSN will be there for every key moment. The plays, the players, and the stories that will headline this season. Delivered by 21 Sports and YSN.
Planning a project around your home or rental property? Trust the electrical service to the local experts with 62 years of serving the Mahoning Valley. Joe Dickey Electric is your local go-to source for responsive, reliable residential electrical work. From everyday maintenance and repairs to new installations, electrical upgrades, and safety inspections, no job is too big or too small. Call Joe Dickey Electric today, 800-549-3976, or visit DickeyElectric.com. That's DickeyElectric.com.
Myers Family Insurance knows the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is here, so it's all hands on deck to make sure your plans still meet your needs for 2020.
Call us today.
You may find yourself in some difficulty this winter. Don't get whacked by high heating bills. Call Michael at MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. Michael is a trusted friend who will be able to help you with many things, like getting a 95% high-efficiency furnace this winter from Rude. Michael relies on Rude, so should you. Call MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning for a free estimate, 330-259-0486, and take care of your heating and air situation.
I went to Greenwood Chevrolet because I was really interested in looking at the tracks.
Because I wanted my dream truck.
Because I've been going there for 20 years.
I'm really happy that I went
to Greenwood Chevrolet.
Because they really went
the extra mile for me.
Now we're going the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Welcome back to a Tuesday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com. Coming up in just a bit, it is Power Hour. DJ and the boys will take you through the 3 o'clock hour, talking all kinds of stuff, and we'll be back tomorrow, noon to 3. Anthony Hartwig will be with me along for the ride. We will hear from Brian Driscoll, our good buddy over in South Bend. You can see his work, irishbreakdown.com. irishbreakdown.com. Brian Driscoll will review the incredible victory by Notre Dame over Clemson, and we'll preview the game against Boston College. And upset alert. I'm just saying, upset alert. Notre Dame is going to be playing Boston College on Saturday at Chestnut Hill. Brian Cholnar will be previewing hard to believe we have a Masters tournament this week in Augusta. Now, the Masters is normally in April. It's going to be in Augusta this weekend. So we'll preview the Masters with Brian Cholnar from Mill Creek at 1 o'clock. And then John Vargo will be chiming in, he of the Vindicator and the Tribune Chronicle. That's all coming up tomorrow, noon to 3. Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Before we go, a happy 245th birthday to the United States Marine Corps. Semper Fi, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen of the Marine Corps. Happy 245th birthday. That'll do it for the program. Enjoy the rest of your day. Power Hour is coming up in a bit.